Modern Family, Francis Jacob Pritchett. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction. So please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story in all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter. And if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 51, Lisa. I was having breakfast in Malibu when I heard someone complaining from the laundry room. Good Lord, I wash more sheets than a roadside motel, Berta remarked dryly from the other side of the room. Summer froze mid-bite, cheeks turning pink. I shrugged. At least mine always has the same perfume. My girlfriend scoffed. It better be, or she'll be cleaning up a murder scene. Yet, I'd leave the face intact, she added. After seeing my smirk we went back to our breakfast. A moment later, she stood up. I gotta go. We mere mortals with normal-sized brains still have to attend school on time, she teased, giving me a quick kiss before leaving. After finishing breakfast, I headed to Dad's room and knocked lightly on the open door. Morning, Francis. Come in, Charlie called. He was fixing his collar in front of the mirror. Hey, what are you doing? I entered his room. Picking out a shirt, he replied while buttoning it. I eyed him for a moment. That one looks nice, I remarked with a nod. It was a dark blue shirt. Dad's style was casual but somehow still charming. You think? He looked in the mirror again. That'll be it, he decided with a grin. Right then, Uncle Alan appeared in the doorway. Morning. What are you two doing? He asked. Dad's meeting someone interesting, I answered, and I'm going back to sleep. Alan frowned. Don't you have school? Don't mind the small things, Alan, Charlie dismissed. How's your book going, son? I told them I was Jake Scribbles and had released Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Not bad, sold 100,000 copies in 2 months, I reported casually. 300 grand waiting for me at the start of next year. Royalties are usually paid semi-annually or annually. $300,000. Alan blurted out. Ah, the feeling of having a son who makes me proud, Charlie patted my back. He's like me, Alan, creative, makes a lot of money doing very little work, drives a nice car, and gets laid every other day. He smirked. 6 yet, and I've already written the second and third books. Might not need to work for a long time, I commented. Alan looked between us as if God had personally insulted him. Finally, he sighed and switched topics too. So, do you guys have any plans for Thanksgiving? I'm going to my cousin's birthday party, I replied. Phil confided in me that they were throwing a big party for Luke this time. Since his birthday is close to Thanksgiving, it seems like Luke never had a proper one. Charlie shrugged. Alan, I don't plan that far ahead. It's this Thursday, Uncle Alan replied, giving him a disbelief look. No kidding? Dad blinked. Didn't we just do the whole pumpkin costume thing with the kid? You mean Halloween? My uncle asked, baffled. That was 3 weeks ago, Dad, I noted, amused. Claire would scold him if she heard that. Halloween was her favorite holiday. Huh, okay. Want to go to Vegas? He looked at Alan, since I'd said I was going to a kid's party. I was thinking something a little more traditional, Alan murmured. That reminds me, I have another reservation at Malibu Rocky Oaks Estate Vineyards next week, I revealed. Then I added, we could do a family trip, like I did with the other side of my family. You're not thinking of inviting Mom, the Impaler, are you? Dad turned to me. I don't think we have much choice, I said to him. And relax, that place is marvelous. Anyway, who's the lucky chick, Dad? I wondered, changing the subject. Her name is Lisa, Dad replied. Lisa who used to live here? Lisa? Alan continued. 3 She lived here, she moved out, she lived here, I moved out. At one point, neither one of us lived here. Yet, that Lisa, Dad explained. Wow, now I'm curious to meet her, I remarked, waving as I headed back to my room. After taking a nap, I went back to the kitchen. Huh, you're still here, Uncle Alan? I said, seeing him sitting and watching TV. He turned to me. Yet, one of my patients rescheduled for 7 o'clock tonight, he answered, sounding a bit exasperated. Then Dad appeared, carrying what looked like a giant frozen turkey. Change of plans, he announced to us. We're gonna have a big family dinner right here, he said, sitting on the couch with a turkey on his lap. Alan looked at him oddly. Oh, And whose big family were you planning on inviting? You know, you, me, Francis, his girlfriend, Jake, Mom, turkey, just like the good old days, he replied, giving the turkey a slap. What good old days? Alan asked sarcastically. Charlie waved a hand dismissively. It's just an expression, don't get hung up on it. Let me guess, I spoke, walking closer with a cup of coffee in hand. Lisa's also invited, right? Charlie gave the face of someone caught red-handed. Alan turned off the TV and asked, okay, what's going on? I need to show Lisa that I'm a family guy, Charlie revealed. 6 My uncle promptly denied, but you're not. Sorry, Dad, but I gotta agree with Uncle Alan. Your best shot at being a family guy is to gain 50 pounds and change your name to Peter, I remarked, sipping my coffee. 6 Alan let out a nasal laugh while Charlie glared at me. You should be on my side, son. I am, I confirmed. I'll even be here and bring Summer along. But sometimes we need to tell a few truths. I won't deny that I have some moral flexibility, especially when it comes to people I care about. But I never let them get away without a few jabs. Chapter 52, They're everywhere. But why do you need to show that you're a family guy, exactly? I asked. One date side. She's about to go off and marry some jerk just because he loves her and wants to settle down too. I get it, you're Satan, Alan muttered flatly. Alan, this is serious. I could lose her forever. Dad's tone grew a little tense. She's the only one I ever thought I might eventually wind up with, he added. Eventually wind up with. I'm touched, Alan quipped, letting out a dry laugh. I patted Charlie's shoulder. You'll need more than that, Dad. Then I turned toward the door. Count me in. But now I'll swing by school first and pick up a gift for Luke later, I told as I was already stepping out, giving them a quick wave. Look who's here, Summer teased, pulling a face as I entered the classroom. I slouched into my seat and set a small box of fries on the desk. I had stopped by McDonald's on the way. After the first day, I'd given up bringing a backpack or any school materials. Marissa spun halfway around in her chair. Are you okay? Coming so early? I frowned and glanced at Summer. What happened to her, Some? She used to be so nice. Now she's all sarcasm too. Marissa rolled her eyes and stole a few fries before turning back. Summer did the opposite. She left a few fries and stole the box. She even whispered, I'm your girlfriend, as if that already justified everything. Then, a young blonde woman appeared next to the principal. Class, this is Miss Paige Swanson. She'll be your new geometry teacher, the principal announced. I leaned towards Summer and whispered, what happened to the old one? She looked at me, shaking her head in disbelief but answered, he was caught having relations with one of the girls in Haley's class 3. I frowned again. And they decide to bring in a very beautiful young blonde teacher? Is it to give us boys a chance too? My girlfriend pinched my arm. Professor Swanson began the class, introducing herself and getting to know the students. I stared at the ceiling, mentally outlining a few steps from the latest analyses of graphene's properties. Too bad I didn't read much in my past life. The behavior of electrons in graphene seems to replicate endoscopic representations of unitary and orthogonal groups 4. Who would have thought this could bring a chance to unify quantum field theory with algebraic geometry? I blinked. What is it, Sonny? I asked. Since she nudged me, she gestured toward the teacher and murmured, your name and your dream. My name is Jake Pritchett, and my dream is to live a happy life, I said, making the class chuckle a little. Paige nodded encouragingly. Anything more? Do we need more than that? I returned the question. Miss Swanson looked like she was about to respond but paused for a second, thought about it, and decided to move on to the next student. I just raised an eyebrow and went back to focusing on the problem. During the break, Haley was complaining at her table, ugh, the guys won't stop talking about the new pretty teacher. Isn't it bad enough that it's geometry? About that, I have something to tell you. I glanced at Marissa and Haley. I'm a genius, I revealed casually. What? Marissa looked at me strangely. Yeah, I'm dating Albert Einstein here, Summer remarked, resting her head on my shoulder. Haley made a weird face. The guy from Back to the Future, 16. We all snapped our necks in her direction. Haley, I gritted my teeth. Sometimes you really make it hard for me to like you. Okay, that was totally out of sudden. Marissa joined the conversation again, so you're like Einstein. She thought for a moment. Is that why you can do whatever you want here? 3. I nodded. Marissa caught on quickly. Yep. Someone valued by all the most prestigious universities in the world is far more important than any ordinary student. Small privileges are to be expected. Small. Summer scoffed beside me. I thought you had bribed the principal, Haley muttered. You can't really bribe the dean of Brentwood High School, Summer replied, but you can make big donations or have powerful families behind you, she explained. I nodded again. I'm not the only one who gets special treatment. Some others also receive a blind eye because of a specific status. Well, now we know who to ask for help on every test we have, Marissa joked lightly, not thinking too deeply about it. I smiled. One thing I like about Marissa is that she's not overly impressed by money or intelligence. One Haley placed a hand on my arm. We still love you, even if you're actually a big nerd, she spoke affectionately to thanks? I replied in a conflicted tone. We started talking about other things. We'll talk more after class, I said as I stood up. I'm going to say hi to the guys. As I approached the other table, I greeted them. Hey, Ryan and Seth, how are you guys? Then I joked, Ryan, your girlfriend looks a little different today, noticing a new girl sitting with him. Jake, this is Anna, Seth introduced. She's from Pittsburgh and just joined our class. Anna Stern, she greeted. And I already know about you, the bad boy who drives a Ferrari, gets into fights, makes his own schedule, and still never gets punished. 10 You forgot the good-looking part. I helped her, not denying any of it. She made an amused face and asked, does this school protect prodigies or kids from influential families? Which one are you? I glanced at Seth first. This girl really says whatever comes to her mind, huh? But then I turned back to Anna. The answer's the first one. The school doesn't want to lose a future Nobel Prizes and Fields Medal winner, I responded. Anna burst out laughing. Sorry, I thought you'd be more like the jerk type, not the funny one. She remarked, thinking as a joke. Chapter 53, The Big Bang Theory. I ignored Anna's remark. So, what's with this influx of blonde girls? I changed the subject, clearly referring to the new teacher. Are you complaining? Anna asked. Not really, but I have a girlfriend, so I'm not that excited either, I remarked. Anna glanced over at the other table where Marissa, Summer, and Haley were sitting. Which one is it? The brunette, I replied. Anna took another look. I assume the one who's not Seth's huge crush. Haley is Jake's cousin, Seth clarified. I raised an eyebrow. Dude, Anna's been here less than a day and she already knows you have a crush on Haley? We were talking about sailing, Seth tried to explain. Anna kept going, and he explained why he named his boat Little Comet. One eye winced. I was 12. Seth shouted. Can we go back to the new teacher? She's 23-4 and we talked a bit more. Later that day, I went to the new Pritchett Moore complex, in Brentwood, near UCLA, which had expanded beyond a math center to include a physics wing, thanks to graphene. More advanced laboratories were still under construction for the physics department. How are you doing, Leonard? How are the experiments going? I asked the young physicist. He greeted me enthusiastically and reported, we've just completed another material. Now, besides graphene, we've isolated 5 other 2D materials, HBN, hexagonal boron nitride, MOS, molybdenum disulfide, WS, tungsten disulfide, MOS, molybdenum diselenide, and WSE, tungsten diselenide. Great! I exclaimed. He looked unsure. Are you sure it's okay for me to put my name on it? Come on, Leonard, put some faith in yourself, I told him, patting his shoulder. You're part of the team too. I changed the subject. You look a little tired. You're not staying here overnight, are you? No, he denied. I wish. My new roommate can be a difficult person sometimes, Leonard admitted, though his expression suggested it was more than just sometimes. One who is he? His name's Sheldon Cooper. He's also a physicist, he revealed to Sheldon Cooper. I gazed surprised. He's my friend's cousin. Wow, what a coincidence, Leonard said. Just hope she's nothing like Sheldon, he joked. Nah, she's fine, I replied, going back to reading the report he'd handed me. Then another person entered the lab. Dr. Hofstadter, she greeted, but froze when she noticed me. Dr. Pritchett, she finished shyly. Future Dr. Jensen, Leonard smiled, trying to ease her nerves. God, Alex, how many times do I have to tell you to call me Jake? I lightly scolded her. I'm not a fan of all that doctor stuff. 7 is for the Dr. title. I had received honorary PhDs from both Caltech and Harvard, and many more were likely on the way. It probably wouldn't take long before the media found out, even with DARPA and the NSA trying to keep it quiet. You're like Newton, Einstein, Gauze, none of them are remembered or called by their first name, Alex said, looking at me like a fangirl. For Leonard chuckled. She kinda has a point. I shook my head and began writing on the board everything I've been working on. It was enough to fill 4 massive boards. Hey, Frank, Wilczek, James, Gerald, I didn't hear you come in, I acknowledged, giving them a quick nod. Gerald approached, squinting at the equations. What's all this about? He asked, trying to make sense of the board. It's the new problem I'm trying to solve, I explained. The behavior of electrons in graphene seems to replicate endoscopic representations of unitary and orthogonal groups. If that's correct, you'd be unifying quantum field theory with algebraic geometry, Frank noted thoughtfully. The others stared at the board, Leonard and Alex with their mouths wide open, realizing the magnitude of idea, unifying 2 branches, physics and mathematics. 3 days passed, and Thanksgiving arrived. I was in the living room when Jay came downstairs and asked, "What is that in your hand?" I showed him by shooting a dart his way. Nerf guns. I bought a few for Luke's party. Perfect with my present, he said, showing the crossbow he was holding. One for hunting, one for tickling the prey, he added dryly. Then Gloria entered the room as well. Hey, Gloria, you got any idea how to wrap one of these things? He pointed the crossbow in his hands as if he were aiming it. Is that a crossbow? Gloria asked, surprised. Jay looked proud. Yeah. Am I the greatest grandpa in the world or what? We can't give Luke a crossbow, Gloria protested. He pokes himself in the eye every time he uses a straw. Are you kidding? I had one when I was his age, Jay argued. Yeah, but we're not living in the age of discovery anymore, I remarked sarcastically. And relax, Gloria, Claire's gonna confiscate the thing like, forever. One hell would freeze over before Claire let Luke wander around with a crossbow, with arrows. 1 Am I charming? Manny asked as soon as he appeared. Jay gave an exasperated look. Oh, boy. Of course you're charming, Gloria promptly replied. Who said you weren't? No one. But there's this girl at my school, and I want her to like me, Manny confessed. I need your advice, Jake and Jay, he added, looking at us. Really? Jay muttered, raising a brow. She's gonna be at Luke's party, Manny continued. So we're finally talking about a girl your age? I asked, sitting down on the couch across from Manny, with Jay beside me. Yes, but she's more mature for our age. Sure she is, pal. Jay and I taught him how to be the funny guy since the other options were a bit scarce. Author note, Jean and Novoselov won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2010 for graphene and its study. Jake did that and expanded it to other 2-dimensional materials. In real life, Others Group did the isolation of others 2D's materials. He's the leader of the project, but the entire experimental physics work and the writing of the paper were carried out by Leonard and his team. 1. Chapter 54, Long Thanksgiving. Wow, Marissa, I didn't know you could cook, I exclaimed, seeing her in the kitchen. After Manny's conversation, I went straight to the group home. Marissa and Summer were helping make the Thanksgiving lunch for the kids. Coop kept stirring the pot. Mac and cheese are one of the few things I know how to make, she laughed. You, on the other hand, I turned to Summer, are exactly what I expected, noticing her struggling to cut some of the ingredients. She let out a cute humph, which made me kiss the top of her head. You two look like newlyweds. Tommy approached us and remarked innocently to Summer. Flushed and froze, while I grabbed an Nerf gun and opened fire on him. Uncle Jake, you told us we were on a break, he shouted, running away too. I had handed out plenty of Nerf guns to all the children, and we played earlier before I stopped to help with lunch. Ellie had been hiding and watching us, then suddenly appeared. I fired at her too. She pressed her hand onto the spot where I'd hide her. What was that for, brother? She curtly pouted. I know Tommy doesn't have the knowledge to talk about newlyweds. He wouldn't blurt that out unless someone told him to, I pointed out. He asked me how to make Summer like him more, she revealed with an innocent look. Ah, Summer murmured softly. Ouch. Ellie squeaked again, since I'd shot her once more. Jake. Her puppy eyes and angel act don't work on me anymore. I can spot a mischievous one from miles away, I warned, pointing toward Ellie. Go help Sister Agnes, or I'll tell her to cut your TV time. She laughed, but not before sticking her tongue out at me. You really are good with the kids, Marissa commented, placing the pasta in the tray. Well, I have to deal with 3 big ones during my day, I joked, making Marissa and Summer playfully slap me. Hey, I was talking about Luke, Manny and Jake, My cousins. I tried to defend myself. Summer repeated my words teasingly. I can spot a mischievous one from miles away. In that playful exchange, Marissa ended up throwing flour at my face. You're on. I retaliated against both of them, sending flour flying everywhere. Let's get him, Coop. Then Tommy appeared with 5 more kids, his reinforcements. Wartime, someone screamed. Suddenly, screams, laughter, and, most of all, flour filled the entire kitchen. Come on, kids, let's attack them. I commanded. Jake, that's not fair. Summer protested. We were screaming and laughing until Sister Agnes appeared, her expression not exactly that of a nun, or maybe she was trying to recreate the horror movie scene 1. If you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Matthew 6:14. I quoted 3. You better be praying to the Lord and make this kitchen spotless before lunchtime, she warned me with a stone-faced expression, then grabbed a handful of flour and tossed it straight at Ellie's face. 5 at Sister Agnes. Ellie squealed, flapping her hands. I'll call the rest of them. Let's make sure all the kids have fun equally, she said with a wide smile before walking away. Restarting the war. After lunch, I was driving my second car, a Porsche Cayenne Turbo, the first SUV ever made by Porsche. I bought it because sometimes I need a car with more space. 11. Are you sure you two are okay spending Thanksgiving with my family? It's going to be a kids' party and a not-so-conventional dinner, I asked them. My dad is with my stepmother, Summer said with a grimace. She never liked the woman. Marissa spoke something similar. My sister is at a boarding school and didn't come back for the holiday. Things are kind of tense with my parents right now, she admitted quietly. I'd heard from Grandma that there were rumors going around about Jimmy, but no scandal had come out yet. Oh well, you're all welcome to the Pritchett and later Harper family, I stated. I parked in front of the Dunphys' house. The place was already fully decorated, with a few inflatable toys and even some bounce houses in the front yard. Phil, you really went all out. I greeted him, laughing. J Money. He patted my shoulder. What's all this? He noticed the boxes I was carrying. Summer and Marissa were helping too. Bought a bunch of Nerf guns as presents, I replied. Summer joined in, more like so he can play too, she teased, smirking at me. Sweet. Phil exclaimed, excited. Phil, is that a rock wall? Claire asked, spotting a climbing wall being set up. Is that even safe? Phil had his typical attitude. Relax, it's all good. Claire made a face that screamed she didn't trust it one bit. But then she noticed us. Hi, Jake, why are you covered in white powder? She asked, brushing some off my shirt. 5 Summer, Marissa, and I helped with the Thanksgiving lunch at the group home. We ended up having a flour war, I laughed when Claire, Phil and Alex, who had just arrived, both let out a soft, affectionate sound. Can you two not look at me like I'm a puppy? I joked, completely ignoring that Phil did too. Then I asked, I'm gonna take a shower here, okay? If I tried that at the group home, the younger kids would want to join in, and it would turn into chaos. Of course, sweetheart, Claire said softly. Phil agreed. Yeah, you can have one with Summer if you want, he blurted out, still probably caught up in the moment. 12 What? The women burst out. Phil, sweetie, Claire spoke in a drier tone. I mean, one at a time. Phil tried to correct himself, making me laugh. But I was the only one. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than FanFic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, FanFic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, Long Thanksgiving II. After taking a shower, I went back downstairs to the front of the house. Claire was carrying a box filled with what looked like colorful decorations. Haley was talking to her. Mom, just so you know, Dylan can't have mayonnaise. That's random. Why are you telling me that? Her mother wondered. Because he's coming to the party, Haley responded. Claire made a less than thrilled face. Is that absolutely necessary? Yes, because she can't go 10 minutes without her boyfriend's tongue in her mouth. It's like he's feeding a baby bird, Alex commented sarcastically. Haley shot back, don't be so jealous. I'm sure you'll meet someone super hot at your camp. Girls, Claire raised her voice a little to stop the bickering before it could escalate. Just then, Marissa and Summer showed up, each eating a snow cone. Thanks. I took the one Summer handed me. Haley turned toward me. Wait, is that your new car, Jake? She asked, pointing at the Porsche. Yep, I confirmed while taking a bite of the blue snow cone. Now it was Claire's turn to glance at me. Did you sell your Ferrari? No. I protested, indignant. How could you even say that? He's like a son to me. I just bought a second car, sometimes I need one with more space. Phil examined the car with curiosity. Is that a Porsche? I nodded. It's the SUV version they launched last year, the Cayenne Turbo one, you know, the money. Claire began to lecture. I cut her off. Save it, I know what I'm doing. And I have more than enough money. Quaz LLC already has over $500 million in net worth, after taxes too. I have a source of income, I added. He writes books, Haley revealed. I had already told the girls about the book, since Charlie and the others knew as well. The content is believable, since I have 3 cousins around that age, not counting the kids from the group home. Alex and Claire both widened their eyes, surprised. What? They exclaimed in unison. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Phil mentioned. It's a funny book. He gave me a thumb up. So I was the only one who didn't know? Claire looked at Haley and Phil, ignoring that Alex didn't know either. Now you know, Aunt Claire, I continued, and soon everyone else close to us will too. I murmured the last part. Phil laughed but quickly swallowed it back when he saw his wife's expression. Claire snapped, Are you calling me a loudmouth? Narrowing her eyes at me. For no, how could I? I said with a poker face. Hey Dylan, good timing, I greeted him, and Claire's attention quickly shifted to I slipped away with Marissa and Summer. We stayed chatting in the corner for a while, enjoying the party food. Marissa had a nostalgic expression as she watched the kids running around. Jake. Marissa spread her arms, both surprised and annoyed, since I had just hit her on the head with an Nerf dart. I shot her a few more times. If you keep slipping into that melancholic mood, I'll keep shooting you. Then I fired again, this time hitting Summer right on the nose. Come over here, Jake. My girlfriend tried to smack me. See? That's how a teenage girl should act, I mocked, shooting at Sum's nose again. Both girls steal the toy guns from the nearby kids and started shooting at me. Wow, Marissa, you can actually shoot someone now, I joked as she hit most of her shots too, and the rest of the kids joined in the fun too. Haley sighed watching all of it. Sometimes you're such a kid, cousin. She pointed out 5, but Dylan, who was standing beside her, got excited too. Cool, I'm in. 1, after playing with the kids, we went outside. Ooh, Summer exclaimed, that clown looks like he escaped from a low-budget horror movie. 4, I pinched her waist and approached Mitchell, who was nearby. Hey Mitch, is that Cam? Yeah, Mitchell confirmed, though he didn't look so happy about it. Fizbo, he clarified too. It's just Cam, Phil muttered near us. Mitchell glanced at him. You alright? Phil tried to play it cool. What? Yeah, I just have kind of a complicated relationship with clowns. 1, well, join the club, Mitchell snorted. We stayed a bit longer before heading to Malibu. Wow, Dad, Lisa might be quite something, I commented, seeing him wearing long pants and a blue sweater vest over a dress shirt. Almost looking like a responsible person. She is, son, Charlie greeted Marissa and Summer. After that, we said hi to Jake, Judith, and her parents. We went to the kitchen. Merry Thanksgiving, Berta, I said, already handing her a bonus envelope. 3, she took it. There's already chilled champagne outside with some appetizers, she whispered to me, adding with a mischievous grin, maybe you can get lucky, nodding toward the 2 girls, probably implying that Marissa could join in as Summer and I already had our relationship more than established. 1, I just shook my head, amused, and told the girls to head outside. Out on the deck, Summer spoke, I think we deserve this, taking a generous sip of champagne after we toasted. But I liked what we did today more than the parties we used to go to in Palisades, Marissa commented, admiring the view. She was particularly fond of the deck. Sometimes the girls come here during the week. Summer grew thoughtful. Me too. Look what Pritchett did to us, Coop, she said, turning to me with a grin. Jackass. Turned shallow, vain, airheaded girls into normal human beings, I murmured. Both of them stared at me with their mouths wide open. Oops, I said that out loud. 5, they started hitting me playfully. That was so mean, Marissa laughed. Maybe you've been hanging out with Summer too much. 1, Coop. Summer opened her arms betrayed, and we kept our playfulness with each other too. Chapter 56, Long Thanksgiving. I walked toward the entrance since the most awaited guest had finally arrived. "I like what you've done with the place," Lisa remarked to Charlie. "You picked out everything here," he answered. "I know," she gave him a quick look. "Just wanted to make sure you did." Then, noticing me, she said, "You must be Francis." She gave me another once-over. "He's so much like you, Charlie," she observed, stunned. "Are you sure, Lisa? Grandmother said I'm way more handsome than Dad was at my age," I smirked. "Charlie," she lightly scolded him, "you're already teaching him your bad habits." "No," he placed a hand on my shoulder, "that came straight from the factory." "She's a good one, Dad," I muttered. Lisa was very beautiful, and didn't look like your typical bimbo I sometimes saw around here. "Told you so," he murmured back. I then introduced, "This is Summer, my girlfriend, and Marissa, my friend." After that, Charlie went to introduce Judith and her family to Lisa. "She's so beautiful," Summer commented. "Good taste clearly runs in the family," she added shamelessly, also complimenting herself. Marissa rolled her eyes while I laughed, pulling her into my arms. We went back to the deck where grandmother was talking to my cousin. Jake was saying, "Dad's a doctor." "No, sweetheart," Evelyn corrected, "your father's a chiropractor." "That's like a masseuse without the hot oil for here." I handed a small box to Jake. "Go play this new game." "Ah, cool. Thanks, Francis," he shouted and ran off to the living room. Grandmother chatted with us for a while before Dad and Lisa joined us outside. "Hi Mom, you remember Lisa, right?" Dad gestured toward her. "We used to live together." "No, I don't." "I'm sorry," Evelyn replied, looking at Lisa as if seeing her for the first time, and shook her hand. "Hello, dear. My son has had so many little roommates," she added casually. I winced. Then she pointed toward the living room. "I just hope you've got better taste than whoever picked out his hideous furniture." Grandma smiled at both of them before heading to the kitchen. Three from Summer's and Marissa's faces, it was clear they had also heard Lisa mention earlier that she was the one who decorated everything here too. Before Charlie or I could say anything to smooth things over, Rose appeared on the deck with a pie in her hands. "Sorry, I'm late, but I didn't realize you were having a party," she smiled brightly. Then she introduced herself to Lisa. "I'm Rose. Don't worry, Charlie and I had sex once, but now we're just friends too." "Who's ready for mystery pie?" Rose announced as she walked into the living room. We all gave an awkward smile. Lisa was glaring at Charlie when I placed a hand on both girls' shoulders. "We'll give you guys a moment alone," I spoke. "Feel free to drink all the champagne." We headed for the living room as well. Alan was talking to Judith's parents. "I really think your daughter deserves a lot of respect," he began, continuing, "It takes real courage to make changes in your life and not care about what everybody thinks too." "Thank you, Alan," Judith replied. "That's true," Evelyn joined in. "The lesbians of my generation were too scared to come out of the closet." Judith's mother widened her eyes and turned to her husband. "Does that mean what I think it means?" "You haven't told them?" Alan asked. "No," Judith answered sharply. "I thought it would be more appropriate coming from your mother." "I'm sorry, did I make a faux pas?" Evelyn placed her hand on her chest. Chaos once again took over. Marissa murmured next to me, "This is more messed up than my family." "Hey," I exclaimed, "don't exaggerate it," earning a glare from her. But soon, the three of us started laughing. Summer leaned closer. "Aren't you going to help your dad?" "I'm trying to figure out how. There are so many unreliable variables here that the easiest thing would be to kick everyone out and leave just the five of us," I stated. "I'm a genius, not a loony bin director," I thought out loud, and went to grab another bottle of champagne for the three of us. We sat down at the table to finally have dinner, the atmosphere still tense after all the chaos. I was a little tipsy. "There it is." Berta slammed the giant turkey down at the end of the table, near us. Seeing that no one said anything, she sarcastically added while sitting on the other side, "Berta, nice-looking bird, thanks for blowing off your family and cooking for ours." "See, Lisa," I remarked, "at least with my dad, you'll never have a boring moment." Evelyn joined the conversation. "Just make sure you're not the cause of the awkwardness," she said, quite ironically, since she was the main source of it today too. "Don't worry," I looked at Lisa again, "we have Uncle Alan living here. You couldn't compete with him even if you tried." One Alan glared at me. "Thank you, nephew. Are we gonna go around the table and say what we're thankful for?" Jake asked, probably at my dad's request. Rose quickly raised her hand. Me, I got one, she said and began. I'm thankful for the food we eat, and thankful for the friends we meet. Then it got weird. I'm thankful for my comfy seat. I'm thankful for the birdies' feed, she finished singing, white with foam. God bless America. Good Lord, this chick is crazy. One Charlie cut her off. Pull up, Rose. Sorry, she stopped. Chapter 57, Long Thanksgiving IV. Jake decided to be the next one to say what he was thankful for. He pulled out a piece of paper from under the table, making me almost fassip him, and started to read. I'm thankful for my mom and dad, my cousin, and my Uncle Charlie, who has shown in the few short months that I've been here that he is capable of. He paused and looked to his mom for help. Significant, Judith murmured, a bit embarrassed. Jake finished, significant change and growth. Too obvious? Charlie muttered deadpan to Lisa. Little bit, she replied. I stood up to grab a piece of turkey. Dad, you paid him $20, you couldn't expect much more. He glared at me then changed to a surprised look. What are you doing, Francis? Getting a piece of turkey, I said, then whispered just loud enough for him, Lisa, Summer, and Marissa to hear. So far, it's only been the nutty chick and the kiddo. There's still a whole line of clowns to go. I bet good money it'll only get worse when he gets meaner when he is drunk. Marissa mentioned. Alan spoke next. Well, I'm thankful that I can spend the holiday with all the people I love, and all the people who love me. He paused for a moment, and Judith Three Eyes sat back down. Summer and I were visibly holding back laughter. Marissa leaned toward us. You two are terrible. What? I exclaimed. That was a good one. Give my uncle some credit. Judith's mom went next. And I'm thankful that our daughter gave us at least one grandchild before she began to cry. I'm thankful I finally found a therapist who has no compunctions about prescribing powerful sedatives. Judith shouted right after. That is a good one. This time it was Rose who agreed with Judith one, and Berta continued in her usual dry tone. I'm thankful I can sit here and listen to you rich people whine while my family's scrabbling for a corn dog at the Pomona Fairgrounds. As much as I wanted to keep watching this freak show, I got up to use the bathroom. When I came back, Dad was proposing to Lisa. Lisa, marry me. That basically sobered me up. She widened her eyes. Marry you? You want me to marry you? Yes, Charlie confirmed, paused, and added, you know. Eventually too I cringed. What the hell just happened? One I went to sit beside Summer. I go to the bathroom and come back to find my dad proposing marriage and then screwing it up right after? That was pretty much it, Summer said thoughtfully, seeming to try to find a better explanation. Charlie was saying goodbye to Lisa after all the awkward moments of the night. As soon as he closed the door, I offered him a glass of whiskey and gestured for us to go to the deck. We stayed silent for a moment. I poured myself a bit of whiskey too. I finally started the conversation. You know, Dad, if you go all in, without that eventually I think you can still get her. He didn't reply at first, just kept staring at the dark ocean. I don't think I want to get married right now, if ever, he spoke, turning to me. I just nodded. Aren't you going to tell me it's time to settle down? He added. If you want to, yes. If you don't, no, I answered simply. I don't see any reason for you to do what society expects of you if it doesn't make your life happier. I went on. Uncle Alan and Judith got married and now they're getting divorced. They're both miserable right now, and I doubt they were much better during the marriage. Marissa's parents are going through a rough time. And Summer's mom just ran away without saying the reason. I concluded, if you're not fully committed, it's better to stay as you are. Charlie took a generous sip of his drink. Sometimes I wonder who is the father in this relationship, he joked. I drank too. You're clearly the older one, but I'm by far the more mature. Dad nudged me. Your friend was right, you get meaner when you're drunk. I prefer to think I just get more honest. I shifted the subject. And I like how I can let loose here. Basically, drink and have fun without anyone giving me judgmental looks. I paused for a moment. Well, except Uncle Alan. At least I can still be the cool dad, Charlie remarked, and we clinked our glasses. Yeah, I smiled. Besides, I can put all the blame on you for my flaws and mistakes, I smirked. Hey, that's not how you talk to your dad. I swear I'm gonna ground you, he mocked. I shouted back, are you sure? My girlfriend's still here, grounding me will only make you more envious. He attacked me playfully, giving me a few headlocks. Then, I'm going to rest, I'll leave you in better company, Charlie nodded to Summer and Marissa and went to his room. The conversation got even weirder after that, Summer said as she poured a bit of whiskey into her and Marissa's Coke. I frowned. How so? How could it possibly get any weirder? Enlighten me. I don't even know how it came up, but your grandmother suddenly blurted out, "At least my future great-grandchildren will be beautiful and smart," Summer explained. "Good Lord, Grandma was inspired tonight," I muttered. Marissa started laughing. "What are you laughing at, Coop?" Summer caught the mood too. "Maybe with all these loonies, Marissa's realizing she's kinda normal," I uttered too. "Hey." She threw her arms open. We kept chatting, forgetting the rest of the guests. Chapter 58, Singing for No Reason. A few days have passed since Thanksgiving. Uncle Alan, Dad, and I were out at night to watch a movie. Okay, after I get the tickets, you line up for the popcorn while I go nail down some good seats. Alan began outlining his plan to Charlie. He went on, "I want butter in the middle, don't just let them squirt it on top. And a large cherry slushie. Then you hold the seats while I head to the men's room, and then I'll do the same for you. That way, we can enjoy our drinks during the movie without fear." He wrapped up his plan like a general briefing his troops. "Got you," Dad acknowledged with a nod. Alan stood in line for a moment before glancing back. "You're not gonna do any of that, are you?" "Nope. Relax, Uncle Alan. It's just a movie," I remarked, sipping a cold Coke. Then someone called my name. "Jake?" I turned, spotting a familiar face. "Anna? You came to watch a movie too?" "Yeah," she replied with a small smile. "That's my dad and my uncle," I introduced, gesturing toward them. "And Anna's a classmate from my school." Seeing that I was waiting for something, she told, "I came alone." "Huh?" I muttered, thinking for a moment. "I don't know if you'd like some company, but you're welcome to join us," I offered. "Wouldn't your girlfriend get mad?" Anna teased playfully. "Summer? She might get a little jealous, but she trusts me." I gave her a steady look. "I can be many things, but I'm not a cheater one and just like to make things awkward." Another voice called, "Dr. Pritchett?" Alex Jensen, as always, stood there looking like a fangirl. Anna shot me a suspicious eyebrow. "Oh, sorry, is she your girlfriend? Are you on a date?" Alex inquired. I motioned for us to step aside to clear up the situation. "All right, let's straighten this out. Anna's just a classmate from my school, not my girlfriend." Then, turning to Anna, I clarified, "Alex is my assistant, I'm also helping her with her PhD." "What?" Anna stared at me, utterly bewildered. And I ended up explaining to her about the Moore Pritchett project, since it wasn't exactly a secret, even though several people close to me didn't know about it yet. Anna was looking at me completely differently now. "You must be kidding me. You're like Newton, 5." But before I could respond, I spotted another familiar face. Probabilities be screwed. "Judith?" Uncle Alan called first, and she finally noticed us. "Wow, look at you. New hair, new clothes. You look, wow," Alan exclaimed, seeing how his ex-wife was dressed. "Thank you," Judith smiled awkwardly. "No, thank you," Charlie chimed in. "It's a public service when a gay chick goes lipstick instead of lumberjack for." "So, how was the movie? Where's Jake?" Alan asked. "Home with a babysitter," Judith replied, a little uneasy. "Alan, I'm kind of on a date." Uncle Alan glanced at the woman standing next to Judith. "Okay, is that her?" he asked, pointing. "Hi, nice to meet you. I'm the ex," he added when the woman looked at him. Judith denied it. "Alan, that's not my date." Then a tall, broad man appeared. "Hey, Alan." "Phil?" "What a coincidence," my uncle greeted. "Phil is Jake's soccer coach," he clarified to Charlie and me. We exchanged looks, already understanding the situation. "Phil, you remember Judith?" Alan asked. Phil looked uncomfortable too. "Well, yeah." After a moment, Alan finally pieced it together. "Wait, you're dating Phil? How can you be dating Phil?" he blurted out. "Alan, he asked me out," Judith explained. He continued his rant. "What about the whole gay thing? Did you even give that a chance?" I pulled Alex and Anna aside and told them about the situation. "Yeah, not my thing." Anna shook her head about the family gossip. "Let's talk more about you being the next Ruthendig." The three of us went to watch a movie together and kept talking afterward. I let Dad handle my uncle. The next day, we were having dinner at the house in Malibu. Jake, Summer, and I were sitting with pizza on our plates while Charlie was mixing a cocktail and Alan was grabbing something to drink. "Hey, guess what? Coach Phil made me first string on the soccer team," Jake announced to us six. "Is that so?" Alan's expression turned less than friendly. Jake confirmed again, "Yeah, it's weird, 'cause I suck." "Maybe Coach Phil sees some potential," Charlie commented, earning a glare from Alan. "So, what else is new?" My uncle tried to change the subject. "Mom's got new clothes and new hair. It's like she's a different person or something," Jake started explaining. Alan shook his head. "But she's still the same person." Jake too. "No, not really. She walks around the house singing for no reason," he went on, then added innocently, "just like you do here." Summer choked while Dad and I burst out laughing too. "I love this kid," I said amused, but Summer kicked me under the table. Dad joined the conversation again. "Your Uncle Charlie also sings for no reason." "Does Coach Phil sing for no reason?" "For God's sake, Charlie." Alan snapped. Jake turned to him. "How come you haven't changed anything yet, Dad?" "Why should I change?" "So you'd look cool like Mom." "You don't think I look cool now?" Number 9. You know what? It doesn't matter if I look cool. We judge a person by what's inside them, not by what they wear, Alan lectured my cousin. "Lucky for you," Jake added with another gem. Summer leaned against me to hold back her laughter. Jake went to his room to watch TV. "Gentlemen, Summer and I are also going to watch TV in my room." Chapter 59, Shopping. The next morning, after brushing our teeth and taking a shower, Summer and I were still under the covers, naked. "You and your naughty hand," Summer lightly scolded me. Her head was resting on my arm, while my other hand was exploring her curves. "What? You work out so hard," I justified myself, "and I'm the only boy who gets to appreciate it," I added, a little possessively. "You're the only boy who ever has," she murmured. "You're impossible," she yelped softly, feeling my playful nudge under the sheets. "My girlfriend turns me on, isn't that normal? And she's already teasing me," I whispered as Summer started stroking me back. "Well, I have to take care of my boyfriend," she smirked, her head disappearing beneath the covers. 5. After our intimate moments, we had to brush our teeth and take another shower before heading to the kitchen. "So, what are you guys doing today?" I asked Charlie and Alan, who were already seated. "We're going shopping to see if we can change a few things about Alan's wardrobe," Dad explained. "We could use a female opinion," he added, gesturing toward Summer. My girlfriend took a quick look and commented, "You could change your hair, your shirts, this pants, belt, and those shoes." EWW4 realizing she might have gone too far, she tried to fix it. "I like your teeth." "Yeah, your teeth are really white," she said, making gestures with her arms. Charlie burst out laughing while Alan forced a smile and said, "Thank you," baring his teeth in irony. I handed her a cup of coffee, and she nodded toward the other room, already wanting to escape the awkward situation she'd created herself. I pinched her cheek. "Relax, that happens all the time, in both my families," I teased, dismissing her complete roast of my uncle when she made a face at me. "I blame you, and spending too much time with you guys," she said, already heading to sit on the couch near the entrance. "Oh yeah?" I raised an eyebrow. "So you're not coming with us to the mall?" Here I was, thinking of gifting you some new clothes, I smirked. "You are so annoying. Can you let me win an argument for once?" she mocked, then whispered suggestively, "Buy me shoes, and I might be willing to pick some new outfits." But the argument between Alan and Jake broke our flirting moment. "I don't want to go. I hate clothes shopping," Jake complained. Alan kept insisting, "You can't stay here alone." "Why not?" "You know why." "But I don't have a turtle to put in the microwave anymore." 23 Get your jacket, Alan ordered firmly. "Fine. I'll put on my stupid jacket, we'll get in the stupid car, and we'll go stupid clothes shopping." Jake threw a tantrum, storming off to his room. Charlie yelled from the kitchen, "Don't talk to your stupid father like that." 3 As karma is a bitch, Grandma showed up too, complaining that we always went out whenever she arrived and that she never got time with her grandkids. Alan made his mom babysit Jake, to both dismays. 6 Marissa and Haley ended up joining us. Later in the afternoon, I was driving my cousin back to her house. "Margaret told me that you and Marissa are learning really well and have a natural talent for the fashion world," I commented. "She was the one who helped with a fundraiser that took place in October." Haley turned to me with a big smile. "She's so incredible. Next week she's taking us to a fashion show that's happening here. I nodded. That's great. Thanks again, cousin, Haley said warmly, patting my arm. For convincing her to teach us. Haley and Marissa had been taking classes with Margaret since the event. Summer went a few times but said it wasn't really her thing. Haley looked back at me. Mrs. Margaret is the fashion director at InStyle, fashion magazine. How did you even pull that off? 7. I patted her head. Don't mind the small stuff. I gave her a good bonus, enough to make her interested in mentoring the two girls. When I was parking, Claire was in front of the house, arranging some decorations, already getting ready for Christmas. Haley took the shopping bags and went to her room, while I went to talk to Claire. Hello, Aunt Claire. I waved 3. Hello, sweetheart, she replied, still fixing some string lights. Can I talk to you for a moment? I asked. She stood up and looked at me. Sure, she agreed. What did you do this time? Well, why do you think I did something? 1. You're a mix of Haley, Phil, Alex, and Dad. She explained. 1. I didn't think you thought so highly of me, I stated, placing a hand over my heart. Thankfully, I came prepared with gifts. I bought those wines you liked, and I already talked to Jay about doing a Jay's night today. You and Phil will get to enjoy the night. Claire narrowed her eyes at me. What is the catch? Your daughter. I paused. Alex, I grinned too. She started smacking me playfully. Seriously now. I need to have a talk with Alex, I revealed. I'm a genius, Claire. Huh? Like Einstein, Newton, or Gauss, I explained. 5. Huh? She made an even stranger face. Then Phil showed up too, and I told them about my math and physics work. Phil commented, you know, I built a volcano in high school once. Maybe science runs in the family. 4. Claire, who is already looking completely incredulous, widened her eyes even more at her husband's comment. I burst out laughing. Totally. I went along with Phil's energy. I just love how he's one. Now let's build a rocket and launch it into space. I encouraged Phil. Sweet. Phil started to say, but his wife immediately cut him off. Phil. Jake, she shouted, giving us a murderous glare. 1. Okay, you need to stop doing that, Jake. Claire admonished me. Now I'm sure you do it just to irritate me, she huffed. She pointed out how I always go along with Phil's vibe, or nonsense. 1. See? Intelligence runs in the family, I teased, dodging her next not-so-playful hit. Just like violence. Chapter 60, Shock. Alex was looking suspiciously at me from the passenger seat. I glanced briefly at her, then back to the road. What is it, Alex? It's strange, us going out together, especially with such a big push from my parents, she remarked. I thought for a moment. Yeah, sorry. I've only been giving attention to the Powerpuff Girls 3. That made Alex crack a smile and stifle a laugh. I continued, I told your parents I wanted to talk to you, since you'd be the one most directly affected. And maybe the only one in the family who could understand even a fraction of it. Okay, now you're getting even weirder, she said, making a face. I'm a genius, Alex. On the same level as Newton or Gauss, I revealed, repeating the phrase I've been saying a few times lately. But well, if I mentioned Landor and Thurston, even Alex might not know who they were. She burst out laughing. I'm not really joking, Alex, or making a prank, I went on, unfazed. I told your parents I wanted to have a conversation with you about it. And you want me to believe that? She looked completely incredulous, not believing per se. I shrugged. I'm just making a simple statement. Just as I can say I've basically guaranteed myself a Nobel, an Abel, and a Fields Medal. Aside from the smaller ones, I revealed everything. 5. And then we arrived at the Pritchett Moore complex. Alex Pov, my cousin, stopped the car in front of what looked like a small university. Since the beginning, he had been somewhat of a mystery, a cousin I had never seen before. I thought he was like Haley at first, but he was always nice to me, and somehow everyone in the family treats him more like an adult, despite his childish behavior sometimes. But well, my dad is way worse. Do you even know what Nobel means? I said, outraged by his early statement. It was already incredible that he knew about the Abel and Fields medals. Most of our family wouldn't even have a clue. He simply ignored me and stepped out of the car. I huffed and followed him. Pritchett Moore? I murmured, seeing the sign right at the entrance. Pritchett? Doesn't seem like a place related to Grandpa. He nodded. It's a mathematical and physical complex. Gordon is the main investor, and I'm the leader. He walked in, not waiting for me to ask more questions. Right at the entrance, he greeted an old man. "Mr. Anthony Leggett, it's a pleasure to meet you." "The pleasure is mine. I must say you're quite different from what I expected," Anthony replied. Another elder approached. "Don't let appearances fool you." "Mr. Moore, good to see you again," Leggett greeted him. Jake turned and introduced me. "This is my little cousin, Alex Dunphy, and these gentlemen are Anthony Leggett and Gordon Moore." I gave a slight nod to both of them. I had the faint impression that I had read one of their names before. Then two more people appeared, this time much younger. We were introduced as well, and one of them was also named Alex. Leonard, the younger man, handed some papers to Anthony. "These were our latest findings on 2D, cell, niobium diselenide, and tantalum disulfide. It's still unbelievable, this whole story about 2D materials," Leggett commented. "If I hadn't conducted one experiment myself, I'd still be skeptical, even with all this data," he smiled. My namesake approached me. "Dr. Pritchett told me to explain what's going on." "Dr. Pritchett?" I interrupted her. She explained, Caltech, Harvard, and Princeton have already granted him an honorary Ph.D. "What?" I screamed, making everyone look at me. Jake was smirking. He totally did it on purpose. And they went back to reviewing reports, with Leonard and my cousin explaining a few things to the gentleman. I murmured to Jensen, "You're saying my cousin is really a genius? A Ph.D. at 16? How could that even be possible?" "I was almost hyperventilating when he is," Alex Jensen replied, her eyes sparkling. "I went back to that crazy conversation from earlier. He talked about Nobels and the Fields Medal. He certainly will win." Jensen agreed, almost fanatical. "You know those two older men over there," she murmured. "Mr. Leggett is the current Nobel Prize winner in physics, and Mr. Moore is a billionaire highly respected in the academic field." I was left speechless. That's where I had heard of Anthony Leggett. He had won the Nobel Prize 2 months ago. After a moment, we went into one of the rooms, which looked like a giant laboratory. "Who are all these people?" I asked, seeing several people working. Jensen explained, "They're Intel engineers, one of our sponsors. In the other labs we have IBM and others from DARPA," she whispered. "For that last one, you'll need to ask your cousin for permission to enter." "DARPA? Isn't that part of government funding? The one who created the internet?" And even more unbelievable things happened when I found out that several Fields Medal winners were waiting for another chat with my cousin. Back to McPov, I handed a small cup of ice cream to Alex. "Hey, how are you feeling?" I asked. She took it but didn't show much of a reaction. "I know it's a lot to take in," I said, sitting beside her and speaking while eating my own ice cream. "I thought of many ways to tell you, but I couldn't find a good one. And you decided to dump everything at once." She turned to me, with a dripping sarcasm. "You wouldn't have rested until I told you everything, once you knew a part of it," I explained. Then I spoke softly. "It's normal to feel frustrated, overwhelmed, and a bit of an inferiority complex. Even feel like your place in the family as the smart one is being threatened." And I finished, "But you'll see, I can open an entire new world to you." We stayed quiet for a moment. I asked another assistant to film all your reactions. "Your parents are going to love it." I gave a mischievous grin when Alex looked at me astonished. "No wonder Mom wants to kill you from time to time," she said, as dry as the Sahara 7. Chapter 61, Money Problems? A few days had passed since I talked to Alex. I was in Malibu watching football with Charlie and Jake. "The kick is up, it's long enough." "The kick is no good," the commentator announced on TV. "Yes," the three of us shouted in unison, high-fiving each other. Alan, who had just walked into the room, asked, "Who won?" "Who cares? We covered the spread." Jake replied excitedly. "Charlie, call me an old-fashioned dad, but I was hoping my son wouldn't start betting on sports until he was old enough to have a drinking problem," Alan lectured. Charlie waved it off. "He didn't really make a bet. I just gave him a taste of my action." "Nor do I want him tasting your action," Alan countered. "Dad, without action, there's no juice," Jake explained matter-of-factly. "See?" Alan said dryly. "All of a sudden, he's Frank Sinatra." I joined the conversation. "Relax, Uncle. We just bet pocket money." "And how much is that?" he questioned. $1,000 each," I replied casually. Alan's eyes nearly popped out. "You're betting $1,000?" The doorbell suddenly rang. "I bet that's the pizza," Charlie said. My cousin asked eagerly, "What's the spread?" "Pepperoni," Dad grinned, ignoring Alan's outburst. The next morning, Alan and I were already having breakfast. "Morning, Berta. Need some help?" my uncle offered as she entered with a grocery bag. Berta gave him a flat look. "Yet. Come to my house and explain to my daughter that we don't post bail for cute guys with Costa Rican passports too." I smiled. Nothing like starting the day with good humor. "Morning," Dad greeted as he walked into the kitchen. "Got your groceries, Charlie?" "You owe me $74, Berta informed him. "Why didn't you just use my credit card?" he asked. "I tried." Funny story, she pulled a handful of tiny fragments from her pocket, the remains of what used to be a card. "My platinum card. Look what they did to my platinum card." Charlie stared in disbelief at the shredded pieces. "They decapitated my holographic eagle." "Here," I handed Berta a $100 bill. "Keep the change." Berta smirked. "Do I need to hook up with every bimbo and pass out drunk in alleys for God to bless me with a son like that?" she quipped, throwing Charlie a sarcastic glance. "One, I'll pay you back, son," Charlie said while still staring at the shredded card. I dismissed, "No need." "And Berta, I'll pay you in full, just keep everything spotless." I don't mind helping with the household bills. I would do the same and Brent would too, but Jay never lets me help, so I just buy him nice drinks and gifts instead. "Gentlemen," Berta looked at Charlie and Alan. "If you had any doubt before, now it's crystal clear who I work for. Finally, I've got a very smart boss," she muttered loudly as she walked away. Later, Dad called the bank and found out that several bills were overdue, and his cards were blocked. He and Alan went to see the accountant who handled all the payments, while I stayed home and called a few contacts I knew. After taking an afternoon nap, I went to the kitchen. When I got there, several boxes of documents were spread across the table while Alan was inspecting some of them. Charlie was beside him, doing absolutely nothing. "So, how's the situation?" I asked, already reaching for a cup of coffee. Alan began explaining. "The good news is that a substantial amount of royalties is going to come in over the next couple of months." "Great. Problem solved. Let's go out to dinner," Charlie suggested enthusiastically. "No, problem not solved," Alan replied dryly. "It's going to take a while to pay off all the bills your accountant ignored. Until then, you're going to have to cut back." I grabbed the compiled expense sheet Uncle Alan had prepared and asked, "Dad, what are miscellaneous cash expenses?" He shrugged. "I don't know. Go see a movie, buy a hot dog, stuff like that." Uncle Alan frowned. "It was $80,000 last year." That's women and gambling," Dad admitted without a hint of shame too. "Okay, from what I'm seeing, you really need to manage your finances better, Dad," I observed. "Your expenses are all over the place." I tossed the papers on the table. "Come on, let's have dinner at that restaurant nearby, I'm starving too." "Francis, we need to cut expenses," Alan repeated firmly. "Hello. Did you both forget that I also have a source of income? I can lend some money to my dad," I replied, unfazed. Charlie patted my back. "Thank you, son, but I can't accept that." "Hey, if we don't pay the bills, soon we won't have power, internet, or anything else," I pointed out, looking at Charlie. "And Dad, you can pay me back when you get the royalties. Otherwise, I'll just take your Jaguar," I joked. Charlie thought for a moment and said, "Okay, I'll accept," sounding a bit resigned. Uncle Alan quipped, "You could also lend me some money." "Yeah, fat chance. Unless you start giving happy endings in your massages, I don't want to be paid in years," I replied sarcastically, for I wouldn't lend money to someone I didn't deeply care about, let alone to someone I have little to no respect for. "Hey," Dad said, touching his chin thoughtfully. "Now I know what to get you for Christmas, Alan. Baby oil, so you can make more money." He smirked. "Shut up, Charlie," Alan shot back. We went out for dinner. Later, Alan and Charlie returned to the Malibu house while I went to meet Summer, who helped me pick out Christmas gifts for everyone. A few days later, Charlie's former accountant was arrested for import and export issues and for embezzling from some of his clients, not Dad, though. Charlie spent money faster than the guy could even get his hands on it. 5. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than FanFic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, FanFic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62, Christmas. Come on. I kept pressing the buttons harder. Seth raised his hands. And the winner is me. You're really bad at this, Anna laughed, grabbing the controller from my hand. I justified myself. My usual opponents are 6 to 11-year-old kids. This time it was Anna and Ryan who started playing the fighting game. In the past few weeks, we've been getting together once in a while at Seth's place, and Ryan's, since the Coens became his legal guardians. Hey, Jake, wanna be part of what I call Christmas? Seth spun toward me. Huh? I blinked. Is that like Christmas plus Hanukkah? 5. He nodded. Right. It's a new holiday, and it's sweeping the nation. Hey, fellas, we got a tree. Sandy, Seth's dad, entered carrying a Christmas tree. Or at least the living room, Seth added. Hello, Jake, would you like to stay with us for dinner? Kirsten asked. I thought for a moment. Sure, the girls are having that time of the month. You know, that's kinda offensive to us women, Kirsten lightly scolded with a mocking smile. Anna chimed in, he means they're having girls' night today. Seth's mom was about to apologize, but Anna cut in again. Don't, he totally phrases like that on purpose. Okay, can we get back to the best holiday ever invented? And that was by me. Seth jumped into the conversation. Christmas? Ryan raised an eyebrow. Allow me to elaborate. He walked over to Sandy. You see, for my father here, a poor struggling Jew growing up in the Bronx, Christmas meant Chinese food and a movie. 5. Then he moved next to Kirsten. And for my mom over here, Waspy McWasp, it meant a tree, stockings, and all the trimmings. I'm not a wasp, she retorted. He ignored it, and finished, so, I created the greatest super holiday known to mankind, drawing on the best that Christianity and Judaism have to offer. We didn't really know how to raise Seth, Kirsten admitted, trying to justify his eccentricities, making everyone laugh. Suddenly, Seth's phone rang. It's Lindsay, he said excitedly. I stood up and stopped him from answering right away. Calm down, you already kissed her, no need to act so eager. Count to 3 and ask her to Christmas, Anna added. He did that, then answered and walked to the corner. Who is Lindsay? Sandy inquired curiously. I responded, soon to be Seth's girlfriend. Lindsay Gardner is one of our classmates. 13. You're welcome, Anna expressed, spreading her arms. Now you're taking all the credit? I looked at her. I did more than you, smart boy, she smirked at me. And this time, it was my phone that rang. Ryan finally spoke up. Girlfriend? No, I denied. A 13-year-old girl who keeps calling me Alex? Anna asked. Yep, you never let any misunderstanding slide, do you? I answered. Since that day, my cousin has been calling me from time to time, wanting to talk about some book or intellectual topic. After we finished talking, Seth had also ended his call and said to all of us, how about a Christmas on December 26th? Dude, you haven't even started dating and you're already whipped? I remarked, astonished too. We played a bit more and then went to have dinner. How come you're not at the girls' night, Anna? Sandy asked while grabbing another serving of pasta. Yeah, Taylor, Haley, Summer, and Marissa, not my thing, she replied. I think only a superior being like Jake could handle all 4 of them together, Seth commented ironically. I joined the conversation too. I barely talked to Taylor, just with the Powerpuff Girls, and Tinkerbell here. Anna raised an eyebrow. Really, Jake? Tinkerbell, too, it's a good one, Seth laughed. See, I pointed out, even Ryan agreed. That's his face when he agrees with something. That boring face is his usual, Anna retorted. Why does she hang out with us, again? Ryan commented. I shrugged. Seth needs a lab partner and a relationship advisor. You're hilarious, Seth said mockingly, while Anna didn't even bother to respond. We finished dinner and kept talking. A week later, December 24th finally arrived. I was watching Miracle on 34th Street with Jay, Manny, and Gloria when suddenly a monster appeared screaming on the screen. Jay jumped in shock. What the hell is that? Innocente. Manny pointed at Jay, chuckling. 6. What the hell, he exclaimed again. When you told me we were going to watch this movie, I asked Jake to help me for a joke copy, Manny revealed. You are the Innocente. Maybe I'm a little confused right now. What's this Innocente stuff? Jay inquired, already annoyed. In Colombia, practical jokes are a Christmas tradition, Gloria explained, still laughing. The one who gets fooled is the Innocente. Uncle Jay replied exasperatedly, we tell practical jokes on April Fool's Day. Don't do that again. Manny and Gloria left giggling, while Jay kept grumbling, Innocente, and looked at me. Are you okay with this crap? I shrugged. Some of my friends are celebrating Christmas mixed with Hanukkah. My dad will probably celebrate with eggnog and a beautiful, but random girl. Adding a Colombian tradition seems perfectly normal to me when I stood up. I'm going to deliver all the presents and then I'll come back. I stopped first at the Dunphys' house. Alex was the one who opened the door. Jake, she spoke excitedly and immediately went on, I read Crime and Punishment. Haley came over too, nudging her sister aside. Oh, gifts, she cheered, hugging me but also reaching for the present. Cousin, you might need to be careful not to get dumber by osmosis, Alex remarked sarcastically. Haley turned her head. I don't have osmosis 7C? Alex pointed out, and the two of them started bickering. I slipped an arm around both of them. Okay, you two wait, where's the Christmas tree? I frowned, noticing that the tree was no longer in the living room too. Chapter 63, Christmas II. Where is the Christmas tree? I asked, since I had helped decorate it too. Our parents are crazy people, Haley commented. We are not crazy, Claire appeared along with Phil and Luke. We cancelled Christmas until one of you three confesses who burned the sofa with a cigarette. I glanced at each of the three, Alex, Haley, and Luke. None of them looked guilty. Luke wasn't good at hiding secrets, Alex would confess as soon as pressured, and Haley would ask me for help to escape punishment, if it were her. They can't confess something that none of them did, I argued. It was me. I got a little distracted and dropped the cigarette butt. I'm sorry. Great. I'll go get the Christmas tree back, Phil said excitedly. Nice, I moved closer to him. I bought a mini Santa Claus that climbs a rope. We can put him on the tree. I showed him, taking it out of my shopping bag. Phil took it, cool, reacting much like Luke, who was watching beside us. Phil. Claire barked, staring in disbelief at us. Phil blinked confused. What? Claire gave him the look. Right, he corrected himself quickly. Uncool, buddy. He started pulling me to help him bring the tree back to that's it? Claire looked incredulous. No, no, no. She repeated. Phil paused, then improvised, You're not playing Mario Kart with me and Luke, today. He looked at Claire for approval when she let out a frustrated sigh. We're against smoking and setting a bad example. Jake, you're banned from coming here until the end of the year. I stayed calm. Well, that's less than a week. That's not fair, Mom. Haley protested. Who am I going to talk about books and science with? Alex added, complaining. Phil joined the chorus. Yeah, Claire, why should we be punished as well? Mom, you said Christmas is about forgiving and all. Even Luke managed to blurt out something that sounded halfway wise. Claire's patience snapped. Why am I being treated like the villain here? She took a deep breath. Fine. 3 days. That's final. I had to hold back a laugh. I love this family. Guys, she is right, I spoke, placing a hand on her shoulder, then whispered, you know, Aunt Claire, stress shortens life expectancy by 20%. And you shorten mine by 50, she shouted back. Don't say that, I replied, pulling out another bag. I bought you a fine wine. She narrowed her eyes. Are you treating me like an alcoholic woman? No, I denied immediately. The wine I gifted you in the past must have been emptied by gnomes, I remarked when she snatched the gift, said thank you, and headed to the kitchen. After helping Phil bring the tree back to the living room, we decorated it again and talked for a while until I mentioned that I needed to deliver the rest of the presents. I stopped by Malibu and told Dad I would spend the 25th at Jay's house too. He wasn't really bothered by it. That night, I went back to Brentwood with Jay. We bumped into each other by chance at Mitchell's house. Where were you for so long? Gloria inquired as we walked into the kitchen. Jay explained, just a little last-minute shopping, then asked, noticing a round food on the table, what's this? Banulas, Manny spoke, already eating one. Jay frowned. Who? What? Gloria explained, cheese fritters. It's a traditional Colombian Christmas food. Okay, new rule. From now on, we do Colombian things when we're in Colombia, Jay declared annoyed, continuing his rant. We do American things when we're in America. He stormed off toward the pantry, shouting, no more of your food, no more of your music, and especially no more of your crazy holidays. Manny and Gloria exchanged a disappointed look. Innocente, he yelled, suddenly reappearing. Manny put his hands over his face, clearly realizing he'd fallen for a prank. You know, it was hard to get fireworks on Christmas Eve. I finally revealed what Jay and I had in our shopping bags. Go, Manny. Gloria encouraged with a wide grin, patting his shoulder. Manny ran to hug Jay and then me. Thank you, he said, beaming. I smiled too. Let's go, we need to set up those fireworks out back, somewhere safe. The next morning, Christmas lunch was at Jay's house. Mitchell, Kim, and Lily were the first to arrive, followed by the Dunphy family. Claire came to talk to me while the rest of the Dunphys were nearby. Jake, I owe you an apology, she began, but could you please wipe that smug grin off your face? No way. I denied. I only took the blame so I could have the moral high ground, and to annoy you. I cleared my throat, save the Dunphys Christmas, I smirked when Claire's eyes were twitching. Either way, sorry, and thank you, she said, hugging me. I whispered, I'm totally going to use that in the future, which made her lightly pinch me. What about us? Haley joined in. You and Dad blamed us first. You were going to cancel Christmas for something none of us did. You called us all liars. Luke added. Phil repeated the same line Luke had used yesterday. Christmas is about forgiving too, that's all on Luke, Alex snorted. You took away the biggest holiday. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. And they make up for those mistakes. Phil paused, then exclaimed, by taking their family to Italy. Everyone cheered, except for Claire, whose face instantly turned worried when we ended up having a very unique Christmas lunch, with some Colombian dishes mixed in and a new recipe Cam had just discovered. That night, everyone left, and I did too, heading over to Summer's house. She had spent Christmas with her dad, but he was going out for the night with her stepmother. Summer peeked outside before opening the door. Merry Christmas, Jake, she grinned at me. I took a long look at the sexy Christmas outfit she was wearing. Merry Christmas, Sonny, I replied, and she pulled me inside 8. Chapter 64, Chrismukkah. Hello? I answered my phone. Seth started talking on the other end of the line. Man, for a brief moment I thought you slept with my aunt, he blurted out right away. I glanced to the side of the bed and gave Summer's breasts a squeeze. No, I'm pretty sure I'm still with Summer. Then I asked, so, my dad's at your house? He was. I caught him sleeping with my aunt, and he ended up leaving. Seth kept talking, she isn't married or anything, it was just a really awkward situation. I murmured. You don't seem that surprised, he remarked from the other end of the line. I explained, my dad's a Don Juan, and he and my uncle had dinner yesterday at my grandma's house, your neighbor. I went on, with all due respect, Seth, your mother's beautiful, so I assume your aunt is too. I can see that happening. My aunt wasn't supposed to be here, let alone sleep with a guy before even saying hi to us, Seth commented ironically. Handful chick, totally my dad's type. Well, at least lunch won't be boring, I laughed. He let out a dry laugh. Yet, for some reason, Lindsay's mom will come too. Boring is exactly the type I wanted to be. Don't worry Seth, everything will be fine. I'll be there soon, I said and hung up. Hey, jerk, these are not stress balls. Summer turned toward me as I didn't stop squeezing her breasts. 10 Are you sure? Because I'm feeling less stressed already, I joked too. She just made a face at me. What did Seth want? She asked, sitting and guiding my hand inside her pajamas. Yet, way better with no fabric in the way. He just called to say that my dad ended up at his house, I revealed. You two have rabbit genes, right? Summer teased, already understanding what happened, not exactly with whom, but it didn't really matter for her. After we got dressed, Summer and I went to the Cohen's house. Ryan, you look like you didn't sleep well, I commented, noticing his tired face as he opened the door for us. Someone slept in my bed, Ryan answered flatly. I raised an eyebrow. Yet, I don't think they did much sleeping. I quipped one not helping. Men, he shot me a look too. Jake, Summer. Seth welcomed us as well. The man we need, he declared, and we all headed to the kitchen. Kirsten, Sandy. I waved to both of them. Hello there, and they greeted me normally. You came early, Jake, Sandy observed, sipping his coffee. Help yourself, he offered, motioning toward the food on the table. Thought you'd be more bothered, Kirsten. I found their lack of reaction a bit strange. For what? She tilted her head. Yet, I haven't told them yet, Seth cut in. Haley's here, he announced. I glanced at him. Your aunt's name is Haley? You don't have aunt issues, do you? Just a coincidence, and I like Lindsay now, Seth replied. Kirsten stood up abruptly. Wait, you saw her? You were talking to her? Or, did she say what she's doing here? I have two guesses, Sandy deadpanned. Either she run out of money or run out of money. Huh? A sister without money showing up at her sister's house. Sounds familiar. 3 Kirsten signed, touching her forehead. Haley's here. Then a blonde young woman came to the door wearing a singlet and underwear. Hey guys, guess who's back, she uttered, smiling. Hello, Haley, Sandy muttered, lowering his head after noticing what she was wearing. Seth laughed awkwardly. Aunt Haley, later when you're dressed, we'll hug 7. Ryan just gave her a look and didn't say anything. Seth? Robe? Her? Now, Kirsten ordered, placing her hand on her hip, already showing great annoyance. Huh? Haley blinked when she saw me. Are you Charlie's son or brother? She questioned while putting on Seth's robe. His son, I replied, unfazed. Kirsten's eyes darted between us. Oh, you didn't, she exclaimed, irritated, probably putting the pieces together. See? Now you know what she was doing, or who she was doing, I commented, receiving a quick glare from her. But she soon turned to Haley again. We haven't seen each other for years, and the first thing you do is sneak in here with a stranger? He's no stranger. He's your neighbor's son, and my dad, I pointed out. Seth muttered out of the corner of his mouth, can't you stop poking the wasp nest? Kirsten started lecturing Haley, but she didn't seem very bothered by it. Seth's mother ended up leaving to avoid getting even more annoyed. Looking good, nephew Seth, Haley commented, giving him a once-over. Thank you. Puberty happened. It's been that long? It sure has. Then Haley pointed at us, and new friends? Yeah, that's Ryan. He's kind of a long story, Seth introduced us. Jake, you've already know his name. Do I need to call you mommy? I mocked. She found it amused. Bite me one can't, I have a girlfriend, I said, glancing down since Summer was in my arms. Summer, she introduced herself calmly. Haley nodded and turned back to her nephew. So, now that you're a man, what are the New Year's Eve plans? Got any girls to kiss? Yes, Lindsay, she's coming here for lunch, Seth revealed. I continued, about the New Year's Eve plans, I reserved a few tables at the Standard downtown, rooftop VIP, for us. Taylor might not come, Ryan murmured. I raised an eyebrow. Why? Because of 3 little words Ryan couldn't say. Surprisingly, it was Haley who explained. Where's the frosted flakes? Seth joked. That's 4, Haley corrected, then said each word slowly. I'll love you. Shut up. Ryan, Taylor said that to you? I asked, receiving a small nod. Okay, what did you say? Seth asked, intrigued. He muttered, thank you 12. We all grimaced. God, that was worse than I expected, even for Seth, I said, still wincing. I love you too, Jake. Seth replied dryly. Chapter 65, Chrismukkah II. Okay, back to the New Eve, the Standard downtown, rooftop VIP, that's a good one. Haley glanced at me. I paused for a second. You can come with us, but if you cause trouble, I'm gonna kick you out, I warned. The doorbell rang. It must be Marissa. I texted her saying we were already here, Summer noted. Marissa? Is that the short chick next door? Seth corrected her. No, puberty happened, gesturing to show she was taller. She's a Laker. Yep, can't say the same for Haley, Summer, or Taylor, I joked. Summer gave me a light headbutt since my chin was resting on top of her head. Marissa showed up a moment later. Hey, guys, she gave a small wave to everyone. Summer went to hug her since they hadn't seen each other on Christmas. I went to hug her too. Jake, Haley and I need your help, she spoke as soon as we pulled apart. Why the face? She noticed my grimace. Nothing good ever comes from the two of you, I teased, getting a light shove. Summer leaned forward, curious. What do you need Jake for? We need someone to wear what we designed. The problem with Dylan, she hesitated. That he and Haley keep breaking up and getting back together, I finished for her. And we all went to play video games, to the disbelief of Seth's aunt. After a while, Anna appeared. Hello, Anna, join us, I handed her the controller. Summer sat even closer to me, and I placed my hand around her waist, making her smirk at Anna. Anna ignored it and sat next to Seth. Jake already lost? Hey, I won against Sunny and Coop. I exclaimed. Isn't it so sad? Seth mocked. I shot back, what's sad is you sitting in a place with traces of what could have been my brother or sister. 11 Seth and Ryan stood up instantly. We forgot to change the sheets, Ryan grumbled. Seth gave me a look of realization. So that's why you took those chairs for yourself, Summer, and Marissa. Yep, I don't trust any place here, I laughed. Anna looked at me strangely. What happened? My dad hooked up with Seth's aunt, I replied, unfazed. Wow. Anna gasped. They did it here, she questioned, astonished, as this is Ryan's room. Here, I pointed to the bed, probably there, I started pointing, and there. Definitely there, one dude. Seth threw his arms open. Marissa suddenly started laughing. Summer lightly scolded me, look what you did to my best friend. Now she's laughing about your degeneracies. Hey. It wasn't me, it was my dad. I'm only stating facts, I defended myself. Marissa finally spoke through laughter. Only Jake could say something that absurd with such calmness. Before we could continue the conversation, the doorbell rang once again. Seth quickly checked his phone. Must be Lindsay. He headed to the door with us following. He opened the door. Hello, Lindsay, Seth smiled, and Mrs. Wheeler, he greeted awkwardly too. Lindsay was about to approach Seth, but her mother held her firmly by the shoulder. Seth, can I talk to your parents? She asked. Lindsay immediately made a face. Mom. You're being weird, she protested. I frowned. She didn't seem to be doing it just out of motherly protectiveness or anything like that. I could see she was slightly shaken. I decided to step in. Seth, why don't you take Mrs. Wheeler to meet your parents? Hey, Lindsay, I heard you want to join the social group? Marissa also pulled Lindsay aside along with Summer. That left Ryan, Anna, and me. Is it just me, or did the atmosphere get tense? Anna wondered. I was still thoughtful. Yes, there's something going on. She's clearly against Seth and Lindsay's relationship, but I don't know why. Doesn't seem like he's not good enough for her thing, I concluded. It was not like Claire with Haley and Dylan. You're the genius one, Anna teased. Solve it. I shook my head. I know little about her. There are so many possible reasons. Maybe she thinks it'll hurt Lindsay's studies, or for some religious reason, or she doesn't want her involved with the rich kids from the Palisades. Gosh, Lindsay could even be someone's illegitimate daughter close to the family. Lindsay said she was raised only by her mother, Ryan commented. Okay, that would be bizarre, Anna remarked. I nodded. The odds should have been minimal. Of all people, the one Seth started liking, 3A knock echoed again. Ryan opened the door. It was Seth's grandfather. Mr. Nichols, everyone's in the kitchen, Ryan informed him. The man nodded and walked that way. Seems like Caleb Nichols still doesn't like you, I noted. Tough guy, Ryan replied shortly. Yeah, better not to say what I think of him, I added. Seth came running a moment later. Guys, I need your help. Mrs. Wheeler wanted to talk alone with my parents, and things got even stranger when she saw my grandpa. We all headed to the kitchen. Caleb was speaking, facing Lindsay's mother. I can't believe you just showed up like this, Renee. Did you really think we could get away with it forever? She reacted. Besides, Lindsay and your grandson were about to start a relationship. What? He shouted, now turning toward us, more precisely, toward Seth. Kirsten frowned. Get away with what? Dad, start talking. She demanded. Mr. Nichols took a deep breath and began to confess. Kirsten, Haley, I had hoped I could protect you both from this forever, but, he continued reluctantly, 16 years ago, I made an error in judgment, one that almost ruined my marriage too. Oh my God. Haley and Kirsten exclaimed in unison. Wait, Seth repeated, are you saying that Lindsay is my aunt? 20. Chapter 66, Chris Mucka Final. Are you saying that Lindsay is my aunt? He shouted, completely incredulously. Marissa, Summer, and Lindsay appeared moments later, likely drawn by the commotion. What is this all about? Lindsay questioned. I'm Seth's grandfather, and you, Lindsay, are my daughter, Caleb revealed plainly. Now too, good Lord, he could have been a bit more tactful about saying that. Renee, already with tears in her eyes, apologized softly. I'm so sorry, sweetie. I should have told you. You're my father? Lindsay's voice cracked. Seth is my nephew? She recoiled in disgust before fleeing in tears. Someone go after her, I urged, since everyone else was frozen. I quickly grabbed Seth by the shoulder. Not you. Not now, Seth, I said firmly, giving him a pat on the back. He yelled at his grandfather and stormed off to his room, with Ryan following him. Anna sprinted after Lindsay. I don't know what to say, Caleb Nichols muttered, approaching Kirsten and Haley. Kirsten slapped him across the face. Get out of my house, she snapped before leaving when Haley did the same. With Sandy and Lindsay's mother also gone, the room fell into an awkward silence, leaving only Caleb, Summer, Marissa, and me when he eventually stepped out without a word. Suddenly, my family's not so dysfunctional, Marissa commented. I scoffed, and that says something. She just glanced at me from the corner of her eye. Are you going to help? Summer asked. I remained thoughtful. I'm trying to think of how. I'll talk to Seth, I decided. The two exchanged a look, not really knowing what to do in this situation, and ended up following me. Hey, I stepped into Seth's room. He was lying on the bed with Ryan beside him, both of them silent. Seth, once you told me that what the Coens do is laugh through your tears, crack jokes inappropriately soon after a traumatic event. I went on, sometimes you'll even make the joke during the traumatic event. Yeah, well, that was above and beyond traumatic, Seth murmured, still staring at the ceiling. How would you feel knowing you kissed your aunt? He turned toward me, horrified. I don't really have an aunt at my age. The closest thing, thinking aunt or a relative around my age, would be Claire or Haley. I considered it for a moment. That would be, gross. 7. Summer bit my shoulder. Why did I feel zero conviction in that answer? I looked away. Summer, you've seen Haley. And Claire. I'm trying to be morally correct here. Is it my fault my family is gorgeous? 13. Seth managed a faint smile, but then all of us went quiet again. I stood up. If you need my help, call me, Seth, I told him, giving him a couple of pats on the shoulder. Thanks, he murmured. We stepped out to give him space. There was nothing much we could do now. Berta was serving eggnogs to Anna, Summer, Marissa, and me on the Malibu deck. When Summer looked at her. You don't seem impressed by the story. We had told her everything that happened earlier. There's so much stupidity among you rich people that the only explanation I can think of is inbreeding, she replied deadpan. I started laughing, making all three of them glare at me. Come on, you need to appreciate Berta's good humor. And Seth found out before anything even more traumatizing could happen. Then Charlie stepped onto the deck, gave us a weird look, and forced a half smile in my direction. Hey, son, there's something funny, but I cut him off. Save it, Dad. We are all aware of you and my friend's aunt. It wasn't even the biggest scandal of the day. He raised an eyebrow. Haley and Kirsten just found out they have a half-sister, who happens to be the girl Anna set up with Seth, I revealed. Dad winced. Anna protested. I'm pretty sure the two of us caused that mess. No, the only one who caused anything was Caleb. We just found a pretty girl for a friend, I corrected. We're not guilty of anything. Good thing you're dating, Francis, Berta remarked. Otherwise, you'd be the one who should be very worried about it, she finished dryly. I don't have a daughter, Berta, Charlie shot back. Probably, he muttered, then shifted topics. So, is a half-aunt illegal? For possibly, I responded. In California, Penal Code Section 285 refers back to Family Code Section 2200. But here's the thing, it considers an uncle or aunt as incest, but there's no inclusion for the word half, unlike the case with siblings. I concluded, genetically, a half-aunt shares about the same percentage as a first cousin, and first cousins are legally allowed to have relationships. 3. Anna stared between me and my dad. I don't know if I should feel impressed by your knowledge or disturbed by what we're even discussing. 2. Girl, if you're already disgusted by this, I suggest you don't talk to Charlie anymore, Berta said sarcastically before going off to clean the house. 2. Hey. I'm still the owner of this house, Charlie complained, annoyed. After a few days, New Year's Eve arrived, and we gathered at the hotel to celebrate the end of the year and the beginning of the next. During those days, we didn't see Lindsay again. She'll still need some time to process everything. At least Seth seemed to be doing better. $810 million in Guz LLC, besides the Apple long call options and the money from the books, I murmured, doing my financial wrap-up for 2003. 5. I continued, and a group I can call family. I watched the Dunphy, Pritchett, and Harper families in front of me, along with the rest of our friends. Why so thoughtful, Jake? Haley approached. I placed a hand on her shoulder. Just thinking about everything that happened in 2003, my little comment. 4. She smiled. Can't believe we've only known each other for 6 months, and gently rested her head against me. And Haley shifted the subject. Mom is mad at you, probably because you said, right next to her, Haley is so drunk and already kissing my dad, making her freak out, until she realized it was the other Haley. She laughed. 8. Chapter 67, Notebook. A week had passed since we entered 2004, and I was making pancakes at the Dunphys' house while chatting with Phil. We heard Haley yelling, "Just keep your hands off my stuff." "I didn't put my hands on your stuff," Alex shot back. "Huh?" They actually managed to go a whole week without bickering. "Hey," Phil called out, "what's the problem?" Alex read my journal. Haley accused. Alex denied it. "I did not." "Why would I even want to read your stupid journal?" "Because it contains the details of a life, and you don't have one," Haley replied sarcastically. I winced. "Wow, that was an emotional damage," too. Alex grimaced. "Oh." And the two stomped off in opposite directions. A moment later, Claire shouted, "Phil," and appeared in the kitchen. Luke was using my computer for this. She placed the laptop on the table and turned the screen toward Phil. "He told me he needed it to do homework, and then I find this, a picture of a topless woman with the biggest boobs I have ever seen, driving a tractor." 8. Phil froze, unsure how to respond, while I leaned closer for a peek. "At least he has good taste," I smirked. "One Jake," she scolded sharply. I joked, "Look on the bright side, judging by the woman in the photo, it doesn't look like he has any mommy or sister issues." Then I mumbled, "They are too huge." 4. Claire shot me a murderous glare, probably holding herself back from smacking me only because I was standing in front of the stove. She turned back to her husband. "Phil. It's smut, and our 10-year-old is looking at smut. It's disgusting. Completely unacceptable," he agreed, though with a somewhat guilty look on his face too. I frowned. Maybe Luke wasn't the one who searched for that picture. "Where are you going?" Phil asked when he saw Claire grabbing her purse. She answered, "I'm going to pick up Luke from his sleepover. We need to talk to him about this now." "Claire, this is a very delicate situation," Phil tried to dissuade her. "If we don't handle it right, Luke might end up with an unhealthy attitude about sex, or agribusiness." "Okay, fine. But I'm telling him that every time he looks at porn, God kills a puppy," Claire remarked. "Too yet, why don't you tell him that's how the dinosaurs went extinct?" I added sarcastically. 5. I finished cooking and called the girls to come and eat as well. The 5 of us sat at the table, since Luke wouldn't be back until the afternoon, the two of them still refusing to speak to each other. "Haley, Alex didn't read your diary," I remarked. "How would you know?" She glanced at me. Alex jumped in, "Because if I had, I'd be handing you a dictionary right now." She made a mocking face too. Before the two could start arguing again, I warned, "If you keep this up, we're not going to the museum." I looked at Alex. "And I'm not letting you drive the car either," I added, turning to Haley. Both of them stopped immediately. But soon Haley commented excitedly, "Marissa and I are going to work part-time for Margaret. I can save money to buy a car." "That is great, Haley," Claire smiled, giving me a brief glance. "She'll probably ask me more about Margaret later." Haley told her parents about her tutor, but didn't go into details. "My baby is growing up," Phil spoke emotionally. "It seems like yesterday you were my little girl on the tricycle. Now she'll be a young woman in a car, running over a little girl on a tricycle," I joked for Jake. Haley snapped, annoyed. "He's not wrong," Alex agreed. "Last time you barged into park, God knows how. It was an accident." She defended herself. "Oh, that's reassuring. At least my sister isn't a complete maniac," Alex retorted. I focused on the beautiful pancakes I had made. While Alex and Haley were getting dressed for our trip to the museum, the three of us stayed at the table. "So, who is this Margaret?" Claire inquired. "Haley said she's been learning about fashion, and that you were the one who convinced this woman." "I did," I nodded. "Margaret is the fashion director at InStyle magazine. She's already considered part of the upper echelon of the fashion world. Very few people can open more doors than she can." I continued explaining, "I only handle the introduction for the tutoring part. Now, the part-time job is because the two of them managed to impress her. If Haley really wants to follow this career path, this will add a lot to her resume, whether for the job market or for a fashion college." They were both surprised. Claire took my hand. "Thank you, Jake. We really appreciate it." She was the one most worried about Haley's future. "Hey, she's family, and like a sister to me," I smiled, then added, "but it won't be for free." And there's still the Christmas event you punished me unfairly when she narrowed her eyes. What do you want? Your husband 50, you can take him, Claire dismissed. Nice. Phil, we're going to Vegas this weekend, I smirked, making Claire squeeze my hand tighter so I couldn't pull away too. Then I revealed, says 2004 is happening, the Consumer Electronics Show, with the most modern tech in the world. Awesome. Phil lit up in excitement. Jay and my dad will definitely be up for going to Vegas, I added. Just, not to attend an electronics convention too. It will be a nice boys' weekend, I declared when the three of us went to the museum, with Haley driving. Later, Phil ended up confessing that the topless woman photo was his, sent by a colleague, Gil Thorpe, and Luke also admitted that he had read Haley's journal by accident too. Chapter 68, Cheap Plot. After spending the weekend in Vegas, our whole family went to have dinner at a restaurant near Jay's house. Jay, I think Gloria didn't really like Barkley, I commented, referring to the statue he bought in Vegas. He dismissed it. Nonsense. He's a butler and a dog, who couldn't love him? Pretty sure the answer is your wife. Jay went to talk to the waiter. Phil was excitedly talking about some gadgets we bought at the convention, but he froze when Claire inquired if Seth, Ryan, and I had done anything inappropriate for our age. Haley, who was texting on her phone, came closer to me and asked, have you met this Alex that Marissa's dating? No, I replied. You're not jealous, are you? She teased. Why would I be? She leaned closer and whispered, oh, it's just us here. You three are totally in a love triangle, Haley teased again. I pushed her head away. I don't do teen drama, cousin, but I wouldn't mind a threesome. I hear drama? Cam approached, with Mitchell beside him when I denied it. There's nothing going on, guys. But since my life seems to be a TV show, well, there are Modern Family and 2.5 Men. Marissa showed up, with someone. Marissa? Haley noticed too and called out. Before she could say anything, the blonde next to Marissa spoke surprised. Jake? Alex. I exclaimed, eyes wide open. 3-0, you must be kidding me. This is just a cheap plot. Alex? Haley looked at the blonde, her eyes widening as she noticed Marissa's awkward, slightly trapped expression. Alex, my cousin repeated, probably putting the pieces together. Let's get this straight, she started, staring at the two of them. I cut in, there's anything but straight happening here. Haley 5 Marissa shouted me a glare while Alex burst out laughing. I turned to Cam and Mitchell. And I'm not talking about you two. Yeah, we got it, Mitchell replied, and Cam nodded, clearly enjoying, or maybe supporting, the moment. Alex? This time it was Manny speaking, also looking surprised. Hey, poet boy, the blonde smiled at him. Jay also came closer and murmured to me, she's one of the girls Manny gave a love letter to. One Alex Kelly? I asked. Yep, she confirmed. She was the girl Manny wrote a love letter to after he found out I was dating Brenda. Manny looked embarrassed. Oh, this is pretty awkward, having two girls I sent love letters to here together. 3 We all turned toward him. Yeah, pretty awkward moment, I stated, not really because of his love letters. And when did you give a letter to Marissa? I frowned. On New Year's, he replied to. Hey, what's going on here? Another voice asked, noticing the small crowd forming around us. I waved her off. Alex Dunphy, go over there, I pointed toward the other end of the table. You're only gonna make everything more confusing, I remarked. To dealing with one Alex is enough. She spread her arms, not understanding anything, but sat down at the other end, like a good NPC who realized she was interrupting a cutscene. Haley finally spoke again. Doesn't matter what you like, you're my friend, Marissa, she said supportively, and the two hugged. Marissa then looked at me. Of course we're still friends, Coop, I hugged her too. We have so much in common, we like beaches, good food, kids, drinks, books, and chicks. I smirked at the last word. 5 She rolled her eyes but hugged me tighter. Thanks, Jake. 3 We need tissues here. Cam screamed in a high-pitched voice, and champagne, he added, afterward. We all sat down and placed our orders. Marissa, Haley, Alex Kelly, and I were sitting at the end of the table, with Haley already chatting with Alex for more gossip. Then my girlfriend showed up and introduced herself, Summer. Alex, the blonde replied. From Summer's expression, Marissa must have already told her that Alex was a girl, she just hadn't introduced them in person. Summer went to hug Marissa too. After a moment, she whispered jokingly, this isn't turning you on, right, making Marissa give her a playful nudge as the two giggled. Having overheard it, I leaned closer and whispered, "It's turning me on," receiving a not-so-playful punch from both of them. I was joking. I pulled Summer by the waist, and we all sat down again. The waiter soon served our food, and while we were eating, Marissa seemed to notice something. "Hey, now that I think about it, you two already looked like you knew each other from the start," she pointed out to me and Alex. Alex gave me a glance, and I said with a straight face, "She was the one who sold me the Ferrari." She nodded. "Hard to forget a young guy who bought a Ferrari M575, she added. "Especially one you gave a BJ to, and a few other things," I thought. But like her, I figured it was better to leave that unsaid for now. "One, I love the Ferrari. Everyone here has already ridden in it at least once with Jake," Haley commented before I glanced at my cousin. "Way to phrase it." Alex raised one eyebrow. "Glad to see you're enjoying it," she smirked, since only the two of us understood my cousin's words differently. I waited for Alex to take a sip of her drink. "I am, but I'm also using my Porsche Cayenne so Marissa and Haley can join in too," I commented, making her choke when Marissa handed her a napkin. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, just surprised by how rich Jake is," she replied. Then we heard Claire shouting loudly, "They did what?" "They were gambling using fake IDs?" I could feel a few eyes turning toward me. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than FanFic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, FanFic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, Cheap Plot II. I answered unfazed, "It's not a big deal, about gambling with a fake ID in Vegas." From the other end of the table, Alex Dunphy muttered with a cynical tone, "Yeah, just a misdemeanor." Besides her, the only ones giving me judgmental looks were Claire and Mitchell. To Gloria, something like that wasn't even worth a raised eyebrow. "I just hope you didn't meet any skank." Summer nudged her shoulder against mine. Haley pouted, "That's not fair. You do a bunch of wrong things, and nothing happens to you. I would be grounded for months." "Any luck?" Alex Kelly wondered if I had won any money. 20 grand at blackjack, I replied to Haley ran her hand along my arm. "How about shopping next week, cousin? A minute ago you were complaining that I never get punished." I pushed her head away, then continued, "And next Saturday I booked Cut by Wolfgang Puck, a VIP private room dinner for all of us. You're invited too, Alex," I said, looking at her normally. "Isn't that the restaurant at the Four Seasons that opened in 2002? Marissa observed. "Any special reason to celebrate?" "My birthday," I revealed. Summer quickly turned to me. "Your birthday is next week? That is so sad my girlfriend doesn't know my birthday," I teased, tapping her cheek, though I wasn't really bothered by it. "Do you know mine?" "Yours is August 13th, I went on. "Marissa is May 4th, my cousin Alex is in 3 days January 14th. I can list everyone's birthday except for the beauty here." I nodded toward Alex Kelly. "March 10th, she replied. "Okay, smartass, we can all meet at my place on Friday night," Summer suggested, giving me a kiss on the cheek. "Have a small celebration just with our group." I smiled, and we started eating. Since the food had arrived, I was washing my hands outside the bathroom entrance when Alex Kelly stopped beside me too. "You never call me back," she initiated, fixing her hair in the mirror. "You never told me you were B." She gave me a pointed look. "Oh, so that would make a difference?" "Maybe yes, maybe not," I shrugged. "But let's be honest, you're only pissed because you weren't the one who bailed first." She just shot me a glare. "And I've seen the way you look at Marissa during the dinner," I teased lightly. "You look like an 8th grader with a crush. Did you write her name in your diary?" I mocked. "Hey, I'm not like the other three. I will actually punch you," she warned me. I dismissed her and continued, "Honest, I thought at first sign it was like one of my dad's theories. Some girls are so hot or so beautiful that even other chicks would go for them. I can totally see that happening with Marissa and Alex." "Your dad is a scumbag," she stated flatly. 3-0, that he is, I fully agreed. We talked a bit more before heading back to the table. A few days later, Summer, Seth, Ryan, Taylor, and I were in Summer's kitchen, putting the drinks into the fridge. I opened 3 Heinekens and handed one to Seth and Ryan, since Taylor and Summer wanted cocktails. "Cheers, men." "Tomorrow 17 years old," Seth toasted, clinking his bottle against mine. Ryan did the same. Right after that, Alex and Marissa arrived, carrying a few bags. We brought a few more things to mix with the drinks, Marissa said enthusiastically as she walked over to hug me. Hi, name's Seth, he introduced himself clumsily to Alex, who greeted him normally. I lightly smacked his stomach. Back off, Seth. He looked at me confused, until Alex got very close to Marissa and brushed her affectionately. Oh. My God, Seth froze with his mouth open. Ryan raised both eyebrows. I haven't told my mom yet, Marissa admitted, seeing their reaction. If you could please be discreet. Yeah, don't worry. I know how to keep a secret, Seth replied, still stunned. Don't worry, girls. If Seth runs his mouth, I'll burn his comics, I joked. Hey, he exclaimed, slightly offended. I'm not threatening you with scratching your cars, he paused, or messing up your equations. Because I would kick your ass. No way, he denied. Ryan, come on, man. He pulled Ryan in front of him. Jake is a rich kid. Then Anna, Haley, and Dylan arrived. My cousin immediately wrapped her arms around me. Now that everyone is here, I remarked, we had only invited our closest friends, let's make some drinks. I began stacking a tower of glasses to prepare one of the most visually impressive drinks I knew. What are you doing? Summer frowned. Watch, I said, giving details. Bottom glass gets Cala and blue Curacao. I poured Sambuca into a small cup, grabbed a lighter, and ignited it. A moment later I poured the flaming Sambuca over the tower, creating a sheet of blue fire cascading down the glasses. To finish it off, I tossed a pinch of cinnamon over the flames, making them erupt in golden sparks. Everyone admired the drink. Alex was the first to approach. Flaming Lamborghini. Not bad. Then she smirked. You really are a show-off 3, that is so cool. Dylan expressed excitedly. It's like a burning glass tower. Seth glanced at him strangely. That is exactly what it is. Alex grabbed my beer, poured it into a large glass, added amaretto and rum, then set it on fire before dropping the flame into the beer glass. She took a sip, giving me a challenging stare. Flaming Dr. Pepper, I nodded one. Well, at least no one here is lighting things on fire with a phone battery, Marissa smiled, remembering how we first met. Summer pressed herself against me. I want one too. I prepared a glass for her, still with sparks falling from the cinnamon in the air. Careful, I warned. This one hits harder than Marissa backing up her car too. Hey. Marissa protested, but Summer and Alex were giggling. Chapter 70, Birthday. After we'd been drinking for quite a while, most of us were pretty drunk. Dylan had already passed out on the sofa. Thank you, Taylor, I said as she brought us another round of drinks. At this point we had lost count of how many we'd had. Seth joked, careful, Jake. She could kill you by accident if you said that word. Everyone who knew the story went, oh, what's the story behind that? Alex Kelly asked. Taylor answered herself. After I said, I love you to Ryan, I gotta thank you back too. Alex winced, at least he was polite. Jake, why don't you kiss Haley so you can support Seth? Ryan fired back. Haley, still resting her head on my shoulder, raised an eyebrow. Now I want to know. Lindsay is Seth's health wand, Summer revealed, leaning into my other side. They almost dated. Hey, it's still a little traumatic, Seth grumbled, though he'd mostly gotten over it. Don't worry, Seth, next time we'll make sure to run a DNA test first, I reassured him. Thank you, he replied sarcastically, and I love you. Taylor and Ryan chuckled, both clearly past the whole thing. Alex jumped in. And here I was thinking my life was messed up. You guys are way worse. She grinned. You were kicked out of school, Marissa teased her. For what? Haley was always ready for gossip. I brought cigarettes and booze, she admitted, laughing as she took another sip. Speaking of that, Jake also got expelled, Taylor added. Hey, it's my birthday already. Shouldn't I get immunity during these rounds of embarrassing moments? I complained. A unanimous no, echoed around the group. Okay, fine. I got caught in the principal's office. I paused, for libidinous acts. Summer bit my shoulder. Why am I not surprised? She mocked. Don't tell me it was with a principal? No. I protested instantly. Her daughters. Plural? Seth's eyes widened. Twins, I confirmed. 1 more about Jake, Haley encouraged the mob. I have one, Alex announced, staring straight at me. I shrugged, sooner or later it would come out. Better now that everyone was drunk. I'm the one who sold the Ferrari to Jake, she revealed to those who didn't know. And, we had a thing. What? Summer and Marissa shouted at the same time. So, you bought a Ferrari and got a bonus test drive, huh? Summer turned to me, dripping sarcasm. Marissa stayed quiet for a moment, then scoffed. Of course he did. He also hit on me the first time we met. She folded her arms. Classic Jake. Coop, Alex and me, don't you know how to say a normal hi when you first meet a girl? Summer made a face. I do. Ask Taylor or Anna, I countered. What about Haley? Taylor smirked. Haley almost sobered up and replied softly, we met when Jake's mom, you know, passed away. The room went awkwardly silent. It's okay, guys. I'm over it, I reassured them, kissing the top of Summer's head as she hugged me tighter. I shifted the mood. And there's a funny coincidence from when we first met, Coop. The cigarette we smoked was Alex's. And that was also when I met Ryan. This time, Ryan was the one who started telling the story of how he ended up living with the Cohens. I woke up with a massive hangover. As I rubbed my eyes, I noticed someone else also sitting up in bed, holding her head like it was about to explode. My head. Marissa muttered, then her eyes widened when she saw me. Don't tell me we. She looked around and spotted Summer and Alex also lying in the bed. No, I denied immediately. Then, under my breath, I added, unfortunately. That earned me a sharp side glance from her. Oh, come on, a guy can always dream, I joked, raising my hands in surrender, trying to ease her glare to you are delusional, Marissa said, but without much conviction. The other two were waking up as well. Someone pushed the bedroom door open. Oh my God. Haley shouted when she saw the four of us in bed. Ah, who is screaming? Summer whined. Alex stood up, glanced at us, then went to her bag to grab something. Nothing happened, she told Haley, who still had her eyes wide open. How do you know? I inquired. You were the drunkest one here. We're still wearing clothes, she replied plainly, tossing one of the pills to me. For some reason, there were already bottles of water beside the bed. Better luck on the next birthday, big boy, she mocked. If anyone had sex here, please clean it up quietly, Summer mumbled sleepily. Hey, that would be totally wrong, I protested. I'm the birthday boy, and I didn't. Oh, that's the part that's wrong? Marissa scolded. You guys are meaner hungover than drunk, I commented as I took the pill, then handed it to Summer and Marissa. How did we end up sleeping together? Marissa wondered. And Alex explained, it was Summer's idea, she said with a shrug. Huh? I looked around. Why are you on the other side of the bed, sunny girl? I questioned, since I was on the left corner. That was my idea, Alex answered again. So there wouldn't be any funny activities while I was asleep. Weren't you afraid I'd get confused and end up with Marissa? You were drunk, but not stupid. You even left these water bottles next to the bed, saying we'd need them in the morning, Alex replied unbothered. Kudos to me, I saluted. And to you, a drunk with memory. Mine didn't work as well when I got drunk. This time I asked my cousin, where is the rest? Haley replied, Dylan already left, Anna and Taylor are still sleeping in the room we stayed in. And Ryan and Seth are sleeping cuddled together. She smirked. I shut up quickly, we have to take a picture of that 5. Later that day, after everyone had recovered, we went out for dinner at the restaurant. My whole family got together, and for once, nothing unusual happened. Author's note, Jake is a nice guy, he might get a present one of these days. Smirking face 9. Chapter 71, 15%. I was coming back from a run with Marissa, since Summer couldn't go with us today. We walked in and saw an older woman, in her mid-30s, lamenting in the kitchen. This is so humiliating. I am so sorry, she muttered, her voice trembling. Hey, is this Manny's date? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Jess, Gloria acknowledged, though her eyebrows also lifted in surprise. How do you know? Well, 2 things, I explained. First, I told him to be careful with those chat sites and to only meet anyone here at home. Then I added sarcastically, second, I smelled the aftershave from outside. Gloria rolled her eyes and went back to comforting the woman. It's okay. The woman tried to justify herself, he just seemed so mature online. How could I be so stupid? You're not stupid. Manny served her a cup of coffee. Stupid is not following your heart and taking a chance on love too. I mean, what kind of 11-year-old talks like that? She cried again. Manny's an old soul, Gloria deadpanned. I nodded. He is. That's why I always need to bring my girlfriend or a friend here, otherwise the youngest energy in this house, besides me, is pushing 40. I had to dodge quickly so I wouldn't get murdered by Gloria. Here. Use my handkerchief, Manny offered her. Gloria spoke flatly. You see what I mean? I'll just be alone for the rest of my life, the woman whimpered. And that's okay. She tried to console herself. No, don't say that. In my country, there's a saying that means, love is just around the corner, Gloria commented, gently rubbing her arm. There's a hot woman picture, and sometimes a price tag right after that phrase on the poster, right? I whispered to Gloria before she smacked my arm, but she also quietly agreed. What? Marissa gave me a confused look. Gloria used a phrase from a love hotel, or, you know, a brothel poster. I clarified. One. Marissa made an awkward smile. Maybe for you. I mean, men must throw themselves at you every day, the woman said, looking at Gloria. You have no idea. Sometimes I need to tell one of my hidden security guys to give the funny ones a good beating. I thought. 5. Gloria encouraged. You just need to find your inner beauty. It's hiding beneath a mask of insecurity, Manny added, making a dramatic gesture around her face. The woman stared at him strangely. Okay, he's starting to freak me out. Manny, go play. Gloria tapped him away. Marissa stepped closer, offering a gentle smile. I've been learning a lot about fashion lately. I could help pick out some different looks for you. Gloria brightened and went to grab her makeup kit and salon tools. I'm home. We heard Jay's voice at the entrance. Gloria yelled back, we're here. And when Jay appeared, Gloria motioned toward the woman. This is Whitney. We're giving her a makeover. 7. Hi. You have such a nice family. Whitney gave a small wave. Her hair was pinned back, and she had some makeup on her face. And a really beautiful house. Thanks. You two know each other how? Jay pointed at Gloria and Whitney. But Manny was the one who answered, she's my date. Of course she is. He sighed. I'll be in there. He signaled toward the living room. 1. Gloria said she'd be right back and went after him. I decided to do the same. I'm going to talk to my uncle as well. Marissa, who had been showing me some fashion magazines, nodded. Okay, I'll show them to Whitney. When I sat on the other couch, Gloria was already asking, how was your lunch with the boys? Good. Ran into Mitchell and Cam. Nice. You're not gonna believe this, Jay grunted, incredulously. Mitchell says Shorty's gay. Shorty? She thought for a moment. Yeah, I believe it. Oh, come on. Well, he's a great dresser, a great dancer, Gloria argued. That doesn't prove anything. He's the only one of your friends who never hits on me. My friends hit on you? Yes, all the time. But don't worry, they're a bunch of harmless old men, she dismissed. Jay threw his arms up. They're my age, too. I'm sure it's very hard on Shorty to keep a secret like that. Jay, I think you should talk to him, Gloria suggested. What? You're the only one with a gay son. I'm sure he'll appreciate opening up to you. Jay grumbled for a moment, but then stood up and said he was going to talk to Shorty. I finally spoke when he left. Shorty is not gay. You're only supporting Mitchell because Jay probably did something dumb to him. Good thing you said nothing, Gloria agreed. Yeah, but I'm not taking anyone's side. I just think it's going to be hilarious when Jay tells Shorty that. A mischievous grin tugged at my lips. 1. Gloria laughed too and pulled me back toward the kitchen. After a while, Gloria finished the makeup and hair, while Marissa had already returned with a floral dress for Whitney to wear. I'm a little nervous, Whitney said, still hidden behind the divider. Gloria urged, don't be. I'm sure you look beautiful. Whoa. Manny exclaimed as Whitney stepped out, and Gloria gasped. What do you think? Look at you. Way better, I chimed in. Marissa and Gloria had done a great job. Really? Yeah, Marissa supported her with a bright smile. Then the doorbell rang, and Gloria went to answer it while we stayed inside. Hey, Cam, she greeted. He handed Gloria some flowers and waved in our direction, saying, Hi, Manny, Jake, and Marissa. Cameron, this is my new friend, Whitney, Manny introduced. Whitney, this is Cameron. Hello. It's nice to meet you, Cam added, giving her an assessing look. That is a spectacular dress. What about this hair? He continued. Oh my gosh. It's like Barbra Streisand in the way we were. One of my favorites. Whitney spoke, excited. Me too. I winced. Poor girl, she came here for a date with an 11-year-old and now she's going to develop a crush on a gay guy. Should we help? Marissa whispered beside me. I shook my head. We did more than enough. I even paid for the dress. If it weren't for the three of them, I'd say wrong house and shut the door. In Malibu, that's exactly what would happen. Chapter 72, Hot Crazy Chick. A few days after the chaos of Manny's dating disaster, I was kissing Summer on the deck in Malibu when, out of nowhere, I noticed something unusual. Hey, usually girls take their clothes off and go inside the house, I called out to the woman who was undressing. She glanced at me. Hi, you must be Charlie's son. Name's Frankie. Then she kept taking her clothes off and headed straight into the ocean. I heard a pointed hum-hum. Why don't you look a bit more? Summer folded her arms and made a face. I nodded. Good idea. I immediately turned to look at the woman again, but I wrapped my arms around Summer before she could jab me in the ribs. I started tickling her. Stop it, Jake, she giggled, and I pulled her in for a few more kisses. You only know how to take advantage of me, she muttered. That I know. I bit her ear. Come on, let's go inside, I said, sliding my hand over her shoulder. Hey, Dad, there was a woman taking her clothes off and going for a swim. I pointed behind me. Yeah. Is this a great country or what? Dad grinned. I agreed wholeheartedly. God bless America, too. Summer nudged me. So, who's the chick? I finally questioned. Uncle Alan explained everything. She was trashing a car with a baseball bat when we left the dentist's office and, you know, one thing kind of led to another. Was that her car? No, just the psychiatrist's, Alan answered with a hint of sarcasm. Well, at least she's not that crazy, I considered. Summer remarked dryly, so the psychiatrist part went completely over your head. Hey, she trashed a car, then got naked and jumped into the ocean. A psychiatrist was going to be involved at some point in the story, if not on the past, then definitely in the future, I pointed out. Hi, Dad. Hey, Uncle Charlie. Hi Cousin Francis and Summer. Jay came hopping toward us, wrapped in a thin strip of white cloth. Summer squinted at the sight. Maybe I'm in a hospice. That's why that woman is here. Yep. No wonder you fit right in, I laughed. She gasped and took a playful swing at me, but I dodged. You're just like Gloria and Claire, can't win the argument, so you go straight to violence, I teased, pinning her arms gently before giving her a quick kiss on the cheek too. Speaking of psychiatric hospitals, I muttered as I spotted another woman walking toward us. Rose, what are you doing? Alan blinked in confusion, unsure why his son was wrapped like that. She revealed proudly, we're playing mummy on a chair. Summer frowned again. Where's the chair? In a place like this, hospice, the chairs are invisible, I whispered to her, making her laugh. Rose didn't hear us and happily ran after Jake, fortunately, not me. Someone knocked on the door. Judith, hi, Alan greeted as he opened it. I'll get Jake right away. Jake, your mom's here, he shouted toward the hallway. Then he turned to Charlie. Why don't you go out on the deck and keep an eye out for approaching squalls, trying desperately to avoid Frankie showing up at the worst possible moment. I'm on it. Dad headed to the deck. Alan forced a strained smile at Judith. It's squall season. She replied flatly, remember, I'm bringing him back tomorrow night so I can see my parents. She paused, noticing something. Why is there a woman's shoe on your floor? One I cut in before Alan could crash and burn. It's a new form of art. It'll be a trend in the future. Not entirely wrong, even a banana taped to a wall became art. One save your sarcasm, Francis, she scolded, grabbing Jake as he appeared. Before leaving, she shot one last glare at Alan. Tell your brother he's a pig. I answered for him. Oink, oink, giving a confirming snort before shutting the door so she couldn't add more insults. Summer crossed her arms. And here I was thinking my stepmom was butchy. A moment later, Frankie showed up wrapped in a towel. God, I needed that. Me too, Charlie smirked. She continued, it's like all my insanity and rage have just been washed away. Then she looked at us. Where can I take a nice hot shower? Alan and Charlie exchanged a look. I said where, not with whom, she clarified, waving her hands. Summer volunteered. I'll show you. And the two of them headed toward the hallway. Good, Charlie. Keep hitting on the deranged woman, Alan deadpanned. While you're at it, why don't you try humping a bear trap? Alan, open your eyes. That is an intriguing and exciting woman. A rare and magnificent jewel, Dad declared as he headed upstairs. Alan shouted back, "She's hot and you're horny." "I'm saying," Charlie called back. "Good point, Uncle Alan," I added, walking toward the hallway. "You gonna kick her out?" he asked. "Not really. I'm gonna take a shower with my girlfriend," I smirked. Summer had already gone home, she'd sleep here tomorrow. The four of us were sitting at the table having dinner. "I just love warm steak," Frankie smiled as Dad poured into the cup she was holding. Charlie agreed, "Me too." He raised his cup, Tora, and the two of them drank. "I prefer it as a cocktail," I commented, raising my own glass, which had a mix of steak and red fruits. "You know, Frankie, there are many fine hotels in the area," Alan noted with a hint of sarcasm. She replied unbothered, "I can't stay in a hotel." "Why not?" "Wow, that is a very good question," she said before casually returning to her food. The three of us exchanged looks when she didn't elaborate. Uncle Alan tried again. "So, where are you from?" "Guess," she proposed. "I wouldn't know where to begin," he blinked, confused. "Okay," she responded simply, and the awkward silence returned. Alan eyed us. Dad simply shrugged. Chapter 73, Hot Crazy Chick I. Here I am yakking about myself. What about you guys? Alan, what do you do? Frankie asked after not saying a thing about herself. Alan shot back sarcastically, "Good question." Guess, mirroring some of the words she had just used. "How about that?" he added, challenging her. Charlie cut in, "Alan, don't be childish." She started it. "He's a chiropractor," Dad revealed to Frankie. "Really? That's terrific. I have so much respect for what you guys do," she said enthusiastically. "Seriously?" "Yeah. Because my brother thinks I'm just a glorified masseuse," Alan deadpanned. Charlie corrected, "I never said glorified." "Charlie, you're so wrong. Chiropractors are like angels of healing." Frankie grabbed Alan's hands. "These hands have amazing powers to bring relief and even pleasure. You know it's not those massages with happy endings, right?" I pointed out, which made everyone turn toward me. "I know," she glared before breaking into a smile. "I do one once a week. In fact, I'm in desperate need of an adjustment right now. Let me get my table, I'll fix you up," Alan offered, finally seeing someone in the house giving him credit. "Awesome." She followed him. "Do you want me with clothes or without?" I raised my eyebrow after hearing that last comment from Frankie. Dad just stared, dumbfounded, frozen in pure disbelief as he tried, and failed, to process what had just happened. He put a hand in his chin, trying to make any sense of it. I burst out laughing. "What are you laughing at, Francis?" he snapped. Still chuckling, I managed, "From my point of view, this was really funny." Charlie placed his plate in the sink and walked out, annoyed. I stayed behind, finishing my dinner. I wrapped up a phone call in the living room. "Yeah, thank you for the information. Bye." I hung up and headed down the hallway. On the way to my room, I saw my dad coming out of the bedroom Frankie was using, Jake's room. "Bad luck?" I asked, noticing the untouched bottle of vodka in his hand. He nodded. "Round one to the hot, crazy chick," he muttered before heading to his own room. I knocked on her door. A come and made me step inside. Frankie looked at me a little surprised. "I was not expecting you." Then added, "That girl from earlier, she's your girlfriend, right? And aren't you a bit too young?" "Yes to both," I confirmed. "I just want to talk to you." I pulled a chair that was in Jake's room. "Sometimes I use it to play video games with my cousin." "Don't abuse our goodwill," I blurted out. "My dad may not have the noblest intentions, but he helped you out. And Uncle Alan is too much of a pushover. Even when he doesn't want to, he ends up helping," I finished. She glanced at me with mild surprise. "Wow, you're trying to be the man of the house. It's kinda cute," she joked, amused, not taking my warning seriously. I leaned slightly toward her and whispered, "Mess with my family, and I'll make sure you never see Joni again too." Frankie widened her eyes and went pale. She shifted into a defensive stance, probably debating whether she should attack me. But before she could do anything, another woman entered the room. She was wearing FBI gear, one hand resting on the gun at her hip. I raised my hand, stopping her. "No need to scare her more, Alana. I'm done talking." But I added a final warning. "I know about your husband's death, about his parents wanting to hold custody of your daughter, and what you're planning to do in the next few days. Then I closed the door. I value my safety and my family's. And as someone who handles sensitive data, especially for DARPA's project, I can use government resources for things like investigations around me. They'd look into it even if I didn't ask for. The next morning, Alan was serving pancakes for me and Frankie. Frankie complimented him, "Man, deep tissue massage, pancakes. If you had a TV on your forehead and could breathe through your ears, you'd be perfect." I lifted my head, confused. "Breathe through the ears?" I muttered, not understanding her thought process. Well, she is nuts. 7. We had talked before Alan entered the kitchen, so she wasn't as wary of me anymore. As long as she didn't do anything stupid, I wouldn't interfere. They're all adults. "So nobody makes you pancakes where you live? Not your husband?" Alan asked curiously. Seeing her shake her head, he continued, "Boyfriend," then in a high pitch, "Girlfriend." She didn't answer, and Alan went on, "Mother, father, grandma, cellmate?" I chuckled at the last attempt. Good guess. Moments later, Dad entered the kitchen. "Morning, Frankie, Francis." "Morning, Charlie," she greeted back. Alan stared at Charlie. "Morning." "Yeah," he answered curtly, grabbing a mug before returning to the hot chick. "So, Frankie, boy, that is a pretty name," he grinned. "How did you sleep?" "Great," she smiled, but paused. "Except I had this wild erotic dream. And I woke up all drenched in sweat." She gestured toward her body. Both Alan and Charlie stared at her like idiots. "Could you pass the syrup?" she asked, completely switching the tone. "Sure." "Yeah," both fumbled, while I was already handing it to her. Frankie showed appreciation. "Thanks, sweetie. You are a doll." Then she commented, "You know, I can't thank you guys enough for letting me stay here last night. I just wish there was some way I could repay you." Alan proposed, "For a start, you could tell us something about yourself. I wouldn't mind hearing more about that dream." Charlie smirked, already sitting down. "All right," Frankie agreed. "I guess I can trust you guys. I know this may sound totally crazy, but I work for a secret government agency, and my current mission is..." She stopped and began laughing. "I'm sorry. You should see your faces. You guys are so easy." "Yeah, like a pimp 5th grader talking with the it girl of the 10th grade, I spoke dryly. 3. Author's note, I haven't gone into much detail about this so far, but Jake is working on an important DARPA project for the US military, and he is leading it. Because of that, it's normal for him to have protection from the government. My idea is this: he uses encoding based on the fundamental lemma to create a coordinated set of drones designed for area monitoring and reconnaissance. Given the technological limits of drones at the time, 2004, they would not be armed 11, so basically, well-coordinated drones, which would be incredible in 2004. Chapter 74, Hot Crazy Chick III. After breakfast, I went to school. I came back later with Summer and Marissa. We were sitting in the living room, with both of them working on school assignments while I helped where I could, with knowledge, mostly. The door opened, and my dad's voice echoed, "Okay, here we are. This is it, right? One kid, no pets?" He looked at Frankie, since this time she was accompanied by an 8-year-old child. "As far as I know," she responded. We all greeted each other, Summer murmuring to me, "That crazy woman is still here?" "Yep." She signaled with her hands to Marissa that she would explain everything later. The little girl glanced toward the deck and asked her mother, "Can I go look at the ocean?" "Sure, just stay on the deck," Frankie allowed. Then, she turned to Charlie and Alan. "Okay, who has the first question?" "What the hell is going on?" Alan blurted out before they could decide who'd start. "Oh, good one," Charlie acknowledged. "Here it is. I married a really rich guy, and his parents always hated me." Frankie began to explain. "I don't know. Maybe it was because when we met, he was on the road to becoming a US congressman, and I was just, on the road." She continued, "Or maybe because we used part of his trust fund to finance my recording career." Alan looked surprised. "You're a singer?" "Well, as it turns out, no," she denied. The crazy chick finished the story. "Then 2 years ago, Brad died. And ever since, his parents have been trying to take Joni away from me." Now understanding the situation, Summer said, "I think I'll go to the deck too," and pulled Marissa along with her. Alan made a realization face. "So, the psychiatrist?" "Court ordered. They're suing me for custody, saying I'm an unfit parent," she revealed. "Unfit? How? Being crazy?" I deadpanned. but I'd put my money on being dumb. Francis. Alan snapped. What? I stepped closer to them. What do you call someone who trashed a car? Especially one that doesn't even belong to the person you're trying to get revenge on? Wait, what? Frankie blinked. The car you destroyed in the parking lot wasn't your psychiatrist's. I handed her a sheet of paper. You're being sued for vandalism. And it won't be long before the police call you in for questioning. She fell silent, her face turning pale. I warned my dad and uncle, they'll be here soon, since you two were also seen at the scene. What are we supposed to do? Alan widened his eyes. We? Where are we? I thought. But I gave him an idea for, you can convince Judith to let them stay at her place for a few days, just until Frankie figures out where she's going, I suggested. Just make some lies. Since nobody was thinking clearly, he agreed. Alan, Frankie and Joni headed to Sherman Oaks. Charlie patted my back. We dodged a bomb there. I corrected. We? You mean me, right, Dad? Okay, smartass. You saved the day, he said with a mocking bow. But you didn't have a better solution? Oh, I had several better solutions. But then I'd have to compromise someone I care about, or I'd have to pay her way out with my money. Why would I do that for a stranger? I shrugged. I could solve everything with lawyers, money, and influence. And Judith seems like the perfect person to handle another crazy woman. Charlie laughed and went to the kitchen. Summer, Marissa and I were out on the deck talking when Berta walked in holding a baking tray. I already heard about the mess your father caused again, she deadpanned. And your uncle trying to make it even worse. Come on, Berta, if things were normal around here, you'd die of boredom, I said, already grabbing a cookie she had baked. The other two took one as well. Then Berta's phone rang, and for a moment, she actually gave a genuine, rare smile. Wow, that is almost new to me, I mentioned, looking at her. It's my grandchild, my little angel, she explained, smiling. The only one who doesn't cause me problems and actually makes me proud too. You have kids? And grandkids? I asked, since we'd never talked about that before. 3 daughters, all trouble. Only 1 granddaughter, she replied. Reagan Lucas. 15 Reagan Lucas? Summer raised an eyebrow. A different name for a girl. Yet, I didn't like the name either. My dumb daughter named her after her 2 exes, she scoffed when I winced. Jesus. Lucas I understand, but Reagan is kind of rare for a man's name, I pointed out thoughtfully. It's a unisex name, but more common for girls. Nah, Reagan was a woman, Berta revealed. You would love my granddaughter, Francis. She's 16, smart and stunning. 3 I was taken by surprise, and Summer spread her arms. Berta, I thought you liked me. I do, or I would have already brought her here, she smirked. You're a good girl, but my granddaughter doesn't lose to either of you. And she went to finish the house chores. Summer asked me, why the face? I won't lie, I got really curious, I answered, pulling her closer to me. Humph, Summer pouted. Come on, Berta doesn't brag about anything, and judging by how she talked about her family, she doesn't sugarcoat things either. I'm just curious about who could put a smile on that thick shell of hers. I commented. Marissa saw a notification on her phone. Haley wants to talk to me. She went inside to call my cousin, while I took the opportunity to keep kissing Summer. Chapter 75, Moon Landing. Claire walked into the kitchen with an appreciative look. Those bacon smell great too. Phil was making eggs and bacon for breakfast. What are you doing with those? I wondered when I saw Alex holding a bag and some plastic wrappers. She replied, Luke and I are doing a recycling drive. If we collect enough bottles, they build a school in Africa. Want to help? 14 I agreed. I'll write you a check worth 10,000 bottles. I'm a little conflicted, my little cousin frowned. That would help more than everybody, but it ruins our whole purpose. Welcome to the world of capitalism, I said, patting her head. One Luke, who was eating cereal, remarked, wouldn't it be so cool to go to a school made out of bottles? That would certainly be a special school, Alex spoke ironically. Did you hear what I said, parents? Special school, she went on with her usual sass. Then Haley walked in already announcing, okay, nobody makes a big deal about it, but I just broke up with Dylan too. No. Phil exclaimed, sounding a little sad too. Oh my gosh, Claire murmured. You okay, honey? She asked, trying, and failing, to hide a tiny smile. Yeah, I'm fine, Haley muttered, frustrated. I need to date someone who has a clue, instead of an idiot who bangs his head every time he rides his bike out of his garage. She emphasized again, every time. I'm sorry, honey. Phil added his own support, I'm sorry for both of you. I'll have to text him later. Haley made a weird face, and I had to hold back my laughter. I motioned for Haley. Come over here. She came into my arms. Are you really all right? I asked. She nodded. Yeah, but I'd feel better with some shopping, she said, lifting her head toward me when I mentioned dryly, she is more than fine, guys. Then I whispered, Saturday, we can go together, but I'm not staying the whole time. Haley gave me a delightfully tight hug. I knew she was more upset than she was letting on. She raised her face again and spoke to everyone. Maybe I should date someone like Jake. Alex snorted, good luck with that. Then continued deadpan, a world-class genius, super rich, funny, cute. She stopped suddenly, turning red as everyone stared at her, would totally fall for you. She ended almost whispering 3 up, somebody has a crush on our cousin, Haley teased. Shut up, Haley. Alex snapped. Haley mocked her again, me holding him like this, does it make you angry? Jealous? And the two of them started quarreling. Okay, enough, Claire admonished. I'm tired of hearing you two fighting all the time. When I get back from my shower, I don't want to hear a peep. Luke asked, where are you going? I'm going to meet my friend Valerie, Claire replied. I haven't seen her in 15 years. We used to work together. You worked? Alex looked surprised. She confirmed, MMHMM. Can't imagine you working. Luke blunted out. Luke, let me tell you something, Phil tried to teach a lesson. That is very offensive to women. Your mom works very hard. It's just now she works for us too. Claire paused and took a deep breath, then said, I will have you know that I had quite a little career going. I was making quite a splash. Haley asked, then why'd you quit? Well, Haley, call me old-fashioned, but I wanted to focus on raising a family, Claire explained. So I married your dad. To Phil went to hug Haley as well. 5 months later, we were, he paused and corrected, 4 months away from having this little bundle of joy. 3 not a good save, by the looks on Haley and Alex's faces. They understood exactly what happened. Claire was pregnant when she married. I'm heading out too, going to meet Mitch, Gloria, and Manny, I said as I waved goodbye. Hey, Mitch, I saluted him and sat beside Gloria and Manny. Mitchell said hi back to me, then returned to talking to Gloria. Maybe, we should go over the accident one more time. Jay had asked Mitchell for help, since Gloria had crashed into another car. Put the dogs on a row, Gloria praised him. You're such a good lawyer. It is ducks, but I decided not to correct her. I just want to make sure we're 100% clear on exactly what happened, Mitchell said, tiptoeing around the subject. Oh, we're clear. I told you. He was parked, Gloria repeated. Well, everybody looks parked when you're going 100 miles an hour, I murmured, receiving a glare from her. Gloria inquired angrily, you think it's my fault, Jake? No, I refused the idea immediately. Just like the 4 times you scratched my Cayenne. Maybe the light pole moved, or the parking space shrank, or maybe one she slapped my arm. See? I pointed at her. That's the proof. Every time you hit me it's basically you saying, shut up, you're right but I don't like hearing it, or stop being funny, more like, stop being cheeky. Gloria let out an ironic laugh. You're too funny today. Then she turned to Manny and Mitchell. Do you two also believe, like Jake, that I'm guilty too? The two exchanged glances, unsure what to say. Manny? Gloria pressed. Manny stuffed a cupcake into his mouth and pointed at it. I can't. Mouthful 1-0, come on. Don't blame your cupcake, she snapped. Fine. I don't need Mitchell as a lawyer anymore. And if you two think I'm such a bad driver, you're safer walking home. She stormed out of the cupcake shop. There was a brief silence between the 3 of us. A short time later, Gloria returned much calmer. I'm sorry, guys. It's true, I am a defensive driver. Manny corrected. You mean you're defensive about Gloria cut him off. I know what I am. She continued, let's go. It's just that I don't like when people assume I'm a bad driver too. We understand, Gloria, I nodded, approaching her. Don't tell me a cupcake stand suddenly moved toward you? She nudged me. But when we stepped outside, we found Gloria's car had plowed through a row of chairs and tables, and the giant cupcake decoration from the bakery had toppled right onto her hood. I promise this was not my fault. Gloria spoke innocently. Yep, clearly the cupcake moved, I murmured. At least it's not my cayenne. Chapter 76, Friendly Fire. After the chaos Gloria caused, we called a tow truck to take her car, and then they got a taxi to go back home. I was driving the Ferrari and planned to stop by the Dunphys again just to drop off some cupcakes Phil had asked for, the moment he heard where I was going. I parked nearby since Dylan's old car was blocking the driveway. Claire was saying goodbye to a woman when I approached. Jake. She looked at me with a strange burst of excitement. Jake is my cousin, but more like a very loved son to me, Claire told the woman while pulling me roughly to her side. I placed my hand on her forehead. Are you okay? She quickly slapped my hand away and whispered from the corner of her mouth, impress her. How much? I murmured. She gave me the famous Claire smile, basically telling me to go all into hey, Mama Claire already introduced me. You must be Valerie, I said, extending my hand. Wow, she is the one who played Skylar in Good Will Hunting 5. Yes, nice to meet you. Valerie shook my hand and asked, impressed, your family lets you drive the Ferrari? Oh, that? I dismissed it. That is mine. I bought it with my own money. And speaking of Ferrari, the new one I bought arrives this week. What? You bought another Ferrari? Claire was stunned. I nodded. Ferrari 612 Scaglietti. Brand new model. I gave it to myself for my birthday. But it's only arriving now. Then I explained, this one has 4 seats. I love my Porsche Cayenne, but Ferrari is Ferrari 3, right? Valerie didn't know what to say for a moment before inquiring, where does the money come from? I'm the writer of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I revealed. You know, it has already sold 3 million copies so far with the 3 books. December had exploded in sales thanks to the releases, Book 2 and 3, and Christmas. It's like $9 million in royalties. I shrugged as if I were talking about tip money. 9 million? Claire's eyes widened even more. And I also make money with research, I continued. If you go near UCLA, you'll see a complex next to it, Moore Pritchett, which is a project of mine and Gordon Moore, the billionaire founder of Intel. I can give you a tour if you'd like. We have impressive equipment there. After all, Gordon invested $100 million in that project. I finished, and you'll be able to meet 5 Nobel Prize winners who work with us. I said it like someone casually mentioning, oh, and there's also fresh bread in the kitchen. Oops, it seems like I'm bragging, but I can show you everything I mentioned. I pretended to feel a little embarrassed. No. I believe you, Valerie spoke quickly. But I really need to go. See you next time, Claire. She headed to her car. Claire was completely in disbelief. What the hell was that? She muttered. Well, you told me to impress her, I defended myself. She groaned. Yet, but not overwhelming me together. What is this, 9 million? 100 million? 5 Nobel Prize winners? I shrugged. All true. I even softened it a bit so it wouldn't be too much. Softened it, too much? Claire snapped. There's even more money from other things. And I could have said I already have over 10 honorary PhDs, that I'll be on magazine covers soon, and that I get laid every other day. One what? She looked at me like an angry mama bear. It's really impressive how you focus only on the last thing I said, I teased, then added, don't worry, I'm not turning you into a granny anytime soon. I bolted inside before Claire could lecture me with her fists. When I walked in, I looked around weirdly at everyone in the house. Did a hurricane pass through here? What is all this mess? Claire walked in right after me, and she looked like a demon unleashed. She scanned each person one by one, like a lion choosing which prey would be the first. But Haley ended up crying. I broke up with Dylan for good, she sobbed and ran into her mother's arms. Oh, Haley. Claire comforted her, then glared at the rest of us with a fix this look before going upstairs with Haley. Okay. I began. Can I at least understand what's going on? I pointed at Luke first. Why are you in your underwear and why does the house smell like liquor? He answered, Alex and I grabbed the leftover boxes from the party our neighbor threw. One fell on me, so I took my clothes off. Then I turned to Alex, who looked like she had just returned from war, panting, hair a mess. There was a rat in the box, EWW, she explained. I was hunting him. Finally, Mario, what is this? I asked Phil, who was wearing a ridiculous fake mustache one. I was trying something different after they scribbled all over my ad. Phil couldn't really explain the reason. My explanation was, Phil being Phil. He ripped it off and groaned, "Ouch." I saw Dylan leave devastated, I revealed. He had walked out while we were talking to Valerie. "Looks like they really broke up for real this time," Phil remarked more seriously when I nodded. "Let's eat these cupcakes I brought," I proposed, lifting the box in my hand. "Then we clean everything up." And that's exactly what we did. Later that night, I went back to Jay's house and ended up discovering a new term, moon landing. Basically, it's when two people bump butt to butt, usually when they both crouched down at the same time, like what happened with Jay and Cam. A very weird image to think about. 3. Chapter 77, Valentine's Day. "Here, try this." Charlie picked up a bit of Chinese food with his chopsticks and offered it to Jake. My cousin asked, "What is it?" "Just try it." "Hey, that's good." "Of course it is. It's chicken in Fromunda sauce." "Fromunda sauce?" "Yeah, from under the toilet," Dad joked. Jake let out a laugh and looked at Alan. "Get it, Dad?" "Yeah, I get it. I got it 30 years ago, the first time he said it," he replied, a little drier. "Yeah, but it's new to him." And Charlie continued, "Hey, Jake, what do you call the red mushy stuff between the elephant's toes?" "What?" "Slow-moving natives." 3. He laughed again. "I love this kid. He's a comedy blank slate," Dad commented, amused. "I'm glad you do, but you might not want to share your chopsticks with him. I think he's coming down with something," Alan warned. Charlie dismissed it. "Before I forget, you got plans for tomorrow night?" he asked Alan, since I had already told him my plans for Valentine's Day. "No," my uncle denied. "Make some. I'm gonna need the house to myself." "Fine. Don't you want to know why?" Alan glanced at his son. "Jake, if you're done, you can go to your room and start your homework." Jake blurted out, "This is about sex, right?" I coughed, then laughed. "Kids today, huh? Doesn't know the Fromunda sauce joke but gets why Dad needs the house." Alan let out a long sigh and again motioned for Jake to go to his room. After my cousin was no longer in sight, Charlie revealed, "I have a hot woman I was interested in, but she was married." Alan snorted, "So the sanctity of marriage does slow you down a bit." My dad ignored him and went on, "But the thing is, he cheats on her with her best friend. She throws him out. Now I'm thinking she's gonna want justice." I nodded in agreement. "Revenge sex. See? My son understands me." Charlie patted my back. Alan just scoffed and warned again, seeing Dad pick up the remaining food from Jake's plate, "Don't take things off his plate. He's coming down with something. Relax." "I never get sick," the next day. "Boy, is he sick," Jake remarked, looking at his father, who was completely knocked out on the couch. I kept a safe distance so there was no chance of getting contaminated. "Wow, Uncle Alan, you were really correct yesterday." "Well, I can't say he didn't warn me," Charlie admitted beside me as he drank some tea. My cousin complained, "I'm bored. What are we gonna do today?" "Sorry, champs, I'm going to pick up my new car soon and then head to a date," I replied. "You bought a new car?" Dad looked at me strangely, since I already had two. "Yep, a brand new Ferrari, and this one has 4 seats. We can all take a ride another day." Jake got excited. "Cool. Excuse me? Hasn't anybody noticed I'm sick and miserable here?" Alan complained well, the only difference I'm seeing is the sick part. "Yes, Alan, we noticed. Which is why we're gonna make like hockey players and get the puck out of here," Charlie said, gesturing. "Get it, Dad? Puck's not a bad word, but it sounds like one." Jake found it funny. "Yeah, hilarious," Alan spoke sarcastically between coughs. "Don't worry, Uncle Alan, help is on the way," I commented. "Grandma said she was stopping by 10. We really need to get out of here," Charlie muttered as he pulled Jake, and I was already heading out as well. We could still hear Alan groaning in the back, like an animal left as an offering, when I arrived at the house in Brentwood. Jay was already trying on a new coat Gloria had given him as a present. "I like it. Nice fit." He smoothed the fabric with his hand. "Swanky material. Jay, you look so strong and sexy. Like an Olympic wrestler, but with money," Gloria praised. I stepped closer and touched the fabric too. "It looks really good," I agreed, "and it even has custom embroidery, JP." Jay gave me an appreciative pat on the shoulder and turned to Gloria. "Your turn." Gloria exclaimed, "This is my favorite day in America." She eagerly opened the package. Ay Dios mío, they're huge. She smiled when she saw the pearl earrings too. Happy Valentine's Day, gorgeous, Jay smiled. You can wear them tonight. I have a surprise. He handed Gloria some tickets. Don't tell me you're finally taking me salsa dancing. She looked excited, until she read what the tickets were for. David Brenner? She frowned. But I was the one who replied, are you taking Gloria to a comedy show on Valentine's Day? I looked at Jay strangely. He's a Vegas legend, Jay defended himself. Gloria sighed and changed the subject to avoid an argument. How about you, Jake? What are your plans for Valentine's with Summer? One, we're having lunch at the Shutters on the Beach Hotel in Santa Monica. I paused for a moment. Double date, with Marissa and Alex. Summer's idea. With a girl you had a thing with, and another who has feelings for you? Jay commented sarcastically, if you put it that way. I muttered, Coop is our best friend, especially Summer's BFF. And we've been hanging out a lot together, even if sometimes there's a bit of jealousy. Summer is only jealous of Alex. I don't know if it's because of me or Marissa, probably both. I sighed, I'm suffering from an excessive success. Okay, Gatsby, Jay spoke dryly, just be careful so you don't end up with no one too. Then Manny appeared with his head down. The universe is cold and loveless, he murmured. 6I, Papito, what happened? Gloria went over to Manny. Chapter 78, Valentine's Day. I. Manny told us he had left a love letter for a girl, but some kid falsely claimed it as his own. Jay just grumbled, saying it was kid stuff. I ended up letting them sort it out and went to pick up Summer. Summer and Marissa were crying. Are you two okay? I murmured. Summer, who was clinging to me, just nodded. Yeah, it's just really sad, Marissa said between sobs. I'm emotionally stable, she affirmed to me. I'm seeing that, I spoke with a hint of sarcasm, earning a pinch from Summer. I grabbed the Coke straw I wasn't using anymore and tapped Alex on the nose. She had fallen asleep leaning on Marissa. She woke up annoyed. I'm gonna kick your ass, Jake, she roughed, receiving a SHHH from the people behind us. We were watching A Walk to Remember at the theater when it ended. We were the last ones to leave the theater. You two are so insensitive, Summer made a face at me and Alex. I retorted, hey, at least I watched the whole movie. I wasn't a sleep dude like this one here, I pointed at Alex. I worked the entire night yesterday, she defended herself. I know it wasn't the best way to start Valentine's Day, but I'll make it up to you, Marissa. Alex added. Wow, I didn't think you'd be the whipped one, Miss Kelly, I mocked. She tried to hit me, but I blocked it. I'm becoming good at this, with women trying to hit me time to time. And I don't know why. Summer glared, you don't know why? Mr. Sasking? Marissa started laughing, that is a good one, Summer. Sasking. We should start calling Jake that. Oh yeah? Miss Teen Drama, Miss EWW, and Miss Hot Lumberjack, I called Marissa, Summer, and Alex respectively. EWW? EWW? Jake, I swear to God, Summer exclaimed. She's powering up, I laughed while hugging Summer. She kept trying to playfully bite me. When we arrived at the parking lot, Marissa and Alex had come by taxi. Both of them were surprised. Did you trade your Ferrari? Alex gave my new car a good look. No. I don't plan on selling the M575 ever, he was my first, I stated. Marissa was impressed. You bought another car? You have 3 now? Yes, the Porsche Cayenne is the most comfortable if we need to travel as a group, so I'm not selling it either. And Gloria borrows it all the time, I commented once Summer was thoughtful. 2 Ferraris and a Porsche. It's incredible no one is throwing panties at you, she twisted her mouth. You're not counting you, right? I flirted, whispering in her ear. She let out a melodic laugh and lightly ran her hand over my abdomen. Alex ended up interrupting us. How did you get the Ferrari 612 Scaglietti, Jake? 3 buying it? I smirked. You know what I mean. It's supposed to be delivered only in the middle of the year, and in Europe first. Alex narrowed her eyes. Money and connections, that's all that matters, Alex, I replied. We went to have lunch at 1 Pico, at Shutters on the Beach. The waiters politely handed us the menus. We are at your service, Mr. Pritchett. Just call me Jake, and I'll have the mac and cheese, I ordered. Mac and cheese? Summer stared at me in disbelief when Marissa made the same face, while Alex ordered the same thing. After a while, the food arrived. I can't believe you ordered mac and cheese at one of the fanciest restaurants in LA, Summer kept murmuring. What? I think it's good, I said, poking it with my fork. And this one is really on another level. Besides, I hate the idea of eating like a pigeon. I mocked their tiny plates. Why did you bring us here then? Alex asked. I got the invitation, the food is good, and it has a nice view, I explained, looking at the beach through the window. Marissa grew curious. Who gave them to you? Mr. Paul Allen. He got interested in some 2D material discoveries my team made. We became acquaintances. I revealed too Microsoft had also invested a good amount of money in the Moore Pritchett 2D research. With them, we now have 3 giant enterprises pouring money into our complex. All 3 of them just stared at me, not knowing who Allen was. Probably only Seth would freak out. One romance movie in the morning, fancy lunch, and now shopping. I listed our day. Pretty eclectic Valentine's Day. Summer gave me a spoonful of her ice cream, but before I could eat it, the escalator suddenly stopped. Looks like something happened up there, Alex commented, trying to get a better look. We started walking up. When we reached the top, I exclaimed, Claire. Phil? Oh great, I heard Claire murmur before she looked at us. Jake, girls, she greeted us with a strained smile. One Marissa asked, Mrs. Dunphy, is your coat stuck? It is. It really is, Claire confirmed. It's in there pretty darn good, she stated again, trying to pull her jacket free, but it was firmly snagged in the escalator. This time Summer spoke. Why don't you take it off? I'm freezing cold, Claire answered. I narrowed my eyes. From Claire's defensive posture, and that strangely answer, it's cold, but not to the point where you can't take it off. Don't tell me she is naked. Hey Alex, do you have a pocket knife? Sure, she handed it to me, surprising the others. You can go ahead, once I cut this, I'll catch up with you, I motioned. Seeing how weird the situation looked, Summer nodded and pulled the girls with her. Clive Bixby, I read the tag on the jacket Phil was wearing, care to do the honors? I handed him the knife. One I smirked at Claire. Exhibitionist and roleplay. It'll be a long time before you can lecture me again. One Claire made a mix of faces but ended up saying, thank you, Jake. Don't worry, I don't judge others' monkey business. I grinned again, just to annoy her too, but I'm happy for both of them. Claire and Phil are my favorite couple after Gloria and Jay. Chapter 79, College. After my aunt's embarrassing moment, we later went to the bait shop, the club where Alex worked, and closed the night there, or at least the 4 of us did. Summer and I still enjoyed the rest of the night, just the 2 of us. The next day, I stopped by the Dunphys after a morning walk. We decided to head to Mitchell's earlier. Claire was driving while I was in the passenger seat. Luke, Haley, and Alex were in the back. Phil was showing a house to a client. Haley was complaining about spending Valentine's Day alone when Claire answered the phone through the car's Bluetooth system. Phil had installed it. Hi, honey, she said. Phil, on speaker, replied, hey, I just wanted to tell you how great you were last night. Claire tried to stop him. Phil, sorry I got the oil everywhere, but hey, Phil apologized. I raised an eyebrow. I've been getting a lot of TMI from those 2 lately. Sweetie, Claire tried again. They're not our sheets, right? Phil laughed. One honey, remember when you told us that the speaker makes everyone in the car hear? She gave a strained smile. Well, the whole family just heard that. Oh. Phil paused for a moment. I guess the Bluetooth works. Luke, from the backseat, asked, why did you have oil? Because, buddy, we were making French fries. Phil made a horrible excuse. Wow, I did too yesterday, I affirmed. To the point where I could already work at McDonald's, and I went further, and I also fried some donuts. Donut for dessert. Claire just stared at me from the corner of her eye. Phil coughed on the other side of the line. In your room? Alex looked at us strangely, but Luke cut her off, cool, and said innocently, but I prefer pie over donuts. 3 This time it was me caught off guard, coughing and laughing. I think we're going to hell, Claire, I murmured. Why don't we listen to some music? Claire turned up the sound system and switched to pop radio station. Then she asked me, why the disappointed face? Well, I was hoping a suggestive song would start playing, just to add the fun. I smirked. Sometimes, you just want to watch the circus burn, huh? Claire scolded. 5 sometimes? I argued. If it's not happening to me, I'm okay with it all the time. We arrived at Mitchell and Cam's house and sat on the couch. Claire was obviously already holding Lily. She continues to be the star among the women. Alex, Haley, and I sat together on the sofa. Alex grabbed my arm excitedly. I can't wait for next month. We will take a full tour through MIT and Harvard. She was talking about her trip to Boston in March. MIT, huh? That brings back good memories, I thought. Haley snorted, you are such a nerd. We're going for St. Patrick's Day parties, she said, clearly excited for different reasons. I'll take you two to Newbury Street, good cafes, great stores, and dinner at the seaport, I told them. And yes, Alex, I smiled at her, we can make a full tour of both, with almost unrestricted access, considering some professors offered to guide us. I hear seaport? Cam approached us. Yeep, there are great restaurants there, I confirmed. The trip will be taken with the whole family. Marissa and Summer are also going. Alex Kelly hasn't confirmed yet, and neither have Seth and Ryan. A little later, Gloria, Manny, Jay, and Phil arrived as well, and we had lunch. After lunch, I was with Mitchell, Claire, and Cam, and they were having a glass of wine. I cannot stand hanging out with his Ivy League friends. Cam was talking about Mitchell's friends. Claire agreed, oh, they're the worst. They're not that bad, Mitchell tried to soften it. They are the worst. Claire emphasized again. Are you kidding me? Cam looked at Mitchell. Debbie can't go 2 minutes without mentioning Columbia University. He added, and that little guy with a lazy eye from Harvard. Brown, Mitchell corrected him. Whatever. Honestly, I wish that Tart would go back to Columbia, and take her weird little brown friend with her, Cam chuckled wickedly. But Gloria and Manny, who happened to be walking by at that moment, stopped and stared at Cam because of the comment. The rest of the family had also fallen silent and heard the whole thing. Cam tried to explain himself to Gloria, so when I said brown people, I wasn't talking about your, brown people. I was talking about people who go to university. Not your people too. Gloria raised an eyebrow realizing how bad it sounded. He quickly corrected himself, and not that your people couldn't go to college. Of course they can go. Who's going to build the college for us? I chimed in to help him. 3 exactly, Cam agreed, but then hastily realized what I had said. I mean, no. 6 Gloria put her hand on her hip and stared at me. Come on. This is too funny. I exclaimed. What are the odds that Cam, while talking about universities, would land on a sentence that fits you and Manny perfectly? I laughed. But after that, I cleared up all the misunderstandings, though Cam was still acting a bit awkward around Gloria. Mitchell changed the subject to break the tension. Lily said her first word. Claire's eyes lit up. What was it? Mommy, Mitch replied, but quickly clarified, it's because of the doll she got as a gift. When you press it, it says Mommy, Cam added. Lily loves that doll. Or she would totally said Daddy first, he declared, probably more to convince himself. Let me guess, I joined the conversation. You two freaked out because that would be an M word as the first word of a child with 2 dads. For their faces, it seems I hit the spot, but you don't need to worry, I comforted them. If Lily ends up like Claire, she'll still be calling Daddy even when she's this old, I finished. Both dads laughed, while Claire stabbed me with her eyes hard enough to make a hole. Chapter 80, Custody. I was writing a few more notes about how the behavior of electrons in graphene seems to replicate endoscopic representations of unitary and orthogonal groups, with some progress this month, thanks to new tests conducted. Alan was also at the kitchen table, writing God knows what. Master, Dad appeared, imitating the hunchback of Notre Dame. Your sexually ambivalent ex-wife is here. He gestured toward Judith. I'm not ambivalent, I'm exploring, she replied dryly. Yes, mistress, he mocked, bowing. How about work? Have you considered exploring that too? I commented, earning a glare from her. Alan stopped writing and lifted his head. Thanks for bringing Jake over. Well, Judith handed him a paper. I wanted to give you this anyway. What is it? It's the bill from my divorce lawyer, she replied. You haven't been paying them. She placed her hand on her hip. Wow, I exclaimed, it's like paying someone to kick you in the nuts. I also need you to look this over and sign it. Judith handed him another paper, probably another bill. And what is this? Alan asked, already exasperated. My lawyer recommended I take out a bigger life insurance policy on you, she said, explaining, in case you should die and can't pay the alimony and legal fees. Why don't you have him frozen? Then you can use him to keep your drinks cold, too, Dad commented sarcastically as he opened a beer. Alan ignored Charlie, and inquired her, who's supposed to pay for this policy? You are. And please, try to be on time with the premiums, she finished without a hint of shame. If he signs it, you could also sell his body when he dies. The balls will be missing, but the rest might still be useful for research, I remarked. 3 Signing it would be beyond being whipped. Dad laughed. Good one. The other two just stared at me. Uncle Alan turned back to his ex-wife. Okay, as long as we're on the subject of lawyers and death, my lawyer recommended that I redraft my will. And you know what? If I die after you die, guess who gets custody of Jake? It's going to Charlie, he exclaimed. Charlie? Me? Alan, you can't be serious, Judith snapped. He's immature, he drinks too much, he sleeps around, he is completely irresponsible. Alan shouted back, "Yep. You should have thought of that before you threw me out." All right. You're obviously angry and trying to get even with me, but I am not taking the bait, she spoke with a bitchy attitude. I will see you on Sunday. Bye-bye, Dad said, waving mockingly. After she left, Charlie raised his beer toward his brother. Hey, man. Thanks. For what? For trusting me to take care of Jake when you croak. I'm sorry, you didn't think I was serious, did you? I just said that to piss her off. Right. Good one. Dad laughed, but then realized, hey. And the two of them immediately started arguing about the custody of Jake. I was unfazed, since with money, and Jake agreeing, I could easily override any so-called will. Jake showed up and put the peanut butter in the microwave, scratched his butt casually, and then poured the melted peanut butter into a glass. Want some, Francis? He offered. No thanks, I declined, and he went back to his room. No wonder everyone wants him, he's basically creating atomic bombs. We should buy a better toilet bowl for his room, too. The next day, Grandma stopped by, which is why Dad wasn't home. We sat on the couch and she handed a gift to Jake. Alan nudged him, noticing his son hadn't said anything yet. What do you say to Grandma? Can I at least open it first? Jake looked at his father. He warned, Jake. No, he's right, Evelyn waved her hand. Wait and see if he likes it. My cousin unwrapped the gift and opened the box. Inside was a large, framed picture of our grandmother. Evelyn smiled. Now you can thank me. Thank you, Jake muttered, staring at the picture, completely unexcited. I'm kidding, she laughed, giving him a gentle push. No little boy wants a framed picture of his grandmammy. Grandma took the frame and handed it to Alan. This is for your daddy. What do you say, Dad? Jake mocked. I stifled a laugh. Don't push it, Jake, Alan scolded, still unsure what to do with his mother's portrait. That's my new photo for the Sunday real estate section, she announced. I thought maybe you'd like a color print of it for your office. So you didn't bring me anything? My cousin whined. Of course I brought you something, she replied, handing him a coloring book and crayons. There. Crayons? I'm 10, he complained. Alan offered dryly, you want to trade? No, I'm good, he replied, running to his room. Seeing Jake had left, Grandma took another box and handed it to me. Thanks, Grandma, but this is too small for a portrait, I joked while opening the gift. Inside was a watch. Wow, Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Automatic. Nice one, Grandma. I hugged her. To put it on, she urged. After I did, she approved. It suits you, Francis. Alan stared at us in disbelief, as if someone had committed sacrilege against him, in this case, his mother. I get a picture, and he gets a luxury watch, he snapped. Evelyn responded without an ounce of shame, Alan, when you visit me every week and help me sell a $5 million house, you'll get one too. Well, she is neighbors with Seth, Ryan, and Marissa, so I always stop by too, since we have a cordial relationship. About the selling, I passed along my grandma's and Phil's contact information to people I knew who wanted to change house. After that, Grandma also brought up Jake's custody. I just shrugged and went to my room too. Chapter 81, Big Bang. We were at Leonard Hofstadter's apartment, and Seth was sitting with him talking enthusiastically about comics. I introduced Leonard, since he was the only one I knew who liked comics, and Seth had mentioned he wanted to create one himself. He's a great artist. When the door opened, 3 people walked in. Hey, Coop, I waved. Oh, I think the other 2 are also co-ops. I pointed at the 2 older people with her. Jake, these are Sheldon and Missy Cooper, my cousins. They're twins, she presented 3. Wow, you picked a good one as a new boyfriend, Missy gave me a once-over, smirking. Marissa looked slightly embarrassed. He's not my boyfriend. Jake is Summer's boyfriend. We are just friends. Great friends. It seems like she still hasn't told her cousin about Alex. Hold on a second, Sheldon intervened. You are Jake Pritchett? He stared at me oddly, then turned to Leonard. He doesn't seem intelligent at all. He blurted out. Leonard, who hadn't even noticed the three entering, finally turned around. Sheldon, he exclaimed. Jake is way smarter than Buddy. Froze upon seeing the girls. Hi, he waved a little shyly. Leonard, this is my friend I told you about, Sheldon's cousin, Marissa, I introduced. And apparently, that's his sister. Isn't it strange that you and Marissa are the ones doing the introductions, considering this is Sheldon and Leonard's place? Seth murmured to us. I just ignored it. Apparently? Sheldon gave me a pointed stare. We already established she's my twin. How could that be apparently? He turned to Leonard again. Are you sure he's a genius? Two things, I said. First, let me put it in a way you can understand. You two being twins is like C-3PO and Princess Leia being twin one. That made Leonard chuckle, and Missy gave me an appreciative smile. Sheldon probably didn't think of it as an insult. Second, I'm way smarter than you, Shelly boy, I mocked. Don't call me Shelly, he spoke, enraged, and there is no way. I went on, I can prove it. For starters, my board doesn't have any equation errors. I pointed at one of the whiteboards in the corner of the room. There is no. I cut him off again. You forgot the minus sign and the modulus in the second part of the equation. Leonard looked at it and thought for a moment. With what Jake said, doesn't it actually solve the problem, Sheldon? Sheldon's eyes started twitching non-stop, like a malfunctioning robot too. Wow, he roasted you hard, dumbass. A girl standing at the doorway mocked Sheldon. Hey, Leonard, she added. He responded awkwardly, hi, Leslie. Leonard, there's no reason to feel uncomfortable just because we've seen each other's faces and naked bodies contorted in the sweet agony of coitus. 5. We were all caught completely off guard by her commentary. Leonard answered dryly, there's not? Gee, because it sure sounds like there should be. Rest assured that any aspects of our sexual relationship regarding your preferences, your idiosyncrasies, your performance, are still protected by the inherent confidentiality of the bedroom, she concluded, somehow making it more awkward. Well, at least she knows the bed rules. I patted his back. She greeted us and headed toward the apartment across the hall. EWW, that was really awkward. Summer emerged in our field of vision. She'd probably hear the whole thing. Seth, you might feeling at home here, she added. Ha ha ha. Hilarious, Summer. You two are always hilarious. How about Mr. and Mrs. Funny? Seth shot back. Summer hugged Sheldon's sister. Long time, Missy. Quite something, the boy you got yourself, Missy teased her. Summer came into my arms. You don't know half of it, she smirked. I kept chatting with Marissa, Summer, and Missy, while Seth and Leonard went back to debating DC versus Marvel. Sheldon stayed glaring at me like he wanted to blow my head up with his mind. He looked like a wounded animal. After some time, someone knocked on the door. Who could that be? Leonard murmured. Missy answered instead. I called a friend I haven't seen in years. I found out she's been living here in LA. She stared directly at Sheldon. Do you remember Paige? Of course I do, I remember everything. I have a photographic memory, he replied. 7. Missy rolled her eyes and walked over to answer it. When she opened the door, we four froze in surprise. Professor Swanson? Marissa exclaimed. Paige raised an eyebrow as well. Miss Cooper, Miss Roberts, and Mr. Imal Wacelet? Oh, there's also you, Mr. Cohen, she added. Then she and Sheldon stood staring at each other. Hi, Sheldon. Hello, Paige, he replied in his usual tone. Summer made a face. Professor, don't tell me you two had a thing? Ugh, no. Paige denied it instantly. We were just friends. Paige is smarter than Sheldon, Missy smirked. I looked at our professor with a hint of pity. A fallen genius, I had met many of them. Excuse me, Sheldon scoffed, outraged. I have 2 PhDs, Pritchett Moore. Paige interrupted Sheldon the moment she noticed Leonard's board. Besides the content, I know his handwriting. That's how I knew the other one belonged to Sheldon. It will be the new 2D periodic table. I'm working on this project as well, alongside Jake, Leonard said proudly. Two-dimensional materials like graphene were supposed to be impossible, she murmured, reading all the board content. Well, we already have 28 pieces of evidence proving otherwise, I commented. Besides graphene, we've already synthesized HBN, MOS, WS, MOS, WSE, MOT, WTE, C, P, MCEL, CRE, VSE, CF, SN, GEL, GACE, SNS, TAS, TIS, TIS, SB, B, ALLO, INTS, SNSEC. With this much, a Nobel Prize is basically just a matter of when, Leonard revealed. And Jake is even more impressive in mathematics than in physics, he smiled. Huh? I think Alex Jensen fangirling is rubbing off on Leonard. Paige was looking at me in disbelief. Sheldon was ranting, how is that even fair? A Nobel just for the discovery of some materials. We ignored the malfunctioning robot for. Chapter 82, Big Bang II. Hasn't any colleague talked to you about it? I asked Paige. Some of them know about it. It's not really a super secret. Not really. I don't have much interaction with most of them, she replied. Now I understand all your privileges. I assumed it was because you were rich. That's not wrong either. It adds to the pot, I nodded. Then Missy pulled the conversation into something she was actually interested in. What are we gonna do tonight? We could watch Matrix Reloaded, Leonard nerdly suggested. Sheldon accepted instantly. That is an excellent idea, Leonard. It's already a classic. Seth also agreed beside them. Missy stared at the three. I was thinking more like, outside the house. At the theater? Sheldon questioned. There is no more Matrix in cinemas, Missy. I frowned. Is he an idiot? How did he reach that conclusion? It is pretty clear where Missy wants to go. There's The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, we could watch it again, Seth proposed. I was thinking more like a nightclub, Missy finally said. Half of the crowd is underage, and the other half are nerds, Paige joined in. I think you're asking in the wrong place, Missy. Jake and I are both, Seth pointed out. But I still prefer a nightclub, I pondered. I don't see the appeal of watching a movie more than once. Surprisingly, I prefer the movie, Summer joked, at least there won't be a bunch of vixens eyeing my boyfriend. Isn't it the same for you girls? Seth asked, since Summer and Marissa are both very attractive. I was the one that replied to him, yes, but less. When we went out, I hired huge bodyguards to secure the VIP area where we stayed. That scares them away. Those who weren't scared received a solid punch to the face, driving them away just the same. Summer talked about the vixens, but I also have female bodyguards. They're more subtle but kept skanks away. But Missy is only staying a few more days, Summer spoke again. We totally should go somewhere fun, she looked at me. What about Exchange Nightclub? Can do. I'll get us the VIP area when you have money, it's easy to get into almost any place, even if you're underage. The three of them ended up going to the movies, while the five of us went to nightclub. Alex was working and texted me to keep the bugs away from Marissa. The next day, I was at the Dunphys' house. Claire asked while cutting some fruit, Haley, sweetie, did you find your shoes? Mom, please, not today. Haley waved her hand, annoyed. I just wanted to know if you found your shoes. Haley continued nervously, why are you hounding me? I'm freaking out right now. I can't even stress properly about Jake not inviting me out last night, she added, as if I were the one to blame. Wow, thank you, I remarked with slight sarcasm. You know, Marissa was there too, I pointed out, since she had come along as well. Coop looked at me like I had thrown her into the fire. My phone was out of battery, she lied. The truth is, Haley is known to be a gossiper, and Paige was already hesitant to go with the three of us, since we're her students. Claire spoke again, you need to relax. It's just a driver's test. It's my third driver's test, and if I fail again, I have to wait 6 months to retake it, she explained, frustrated that 6 more months with our streets safer, I murmured. But well, we still have cooperative. Marissa, who was about to bite into an apple, stopped and looked at me. I'm getting better, okay? Yeah, our trees are safe. I mocked, making her throw an apple seed at me. Then Alex walked into the kitchen. Haley, I found your jacket, she announced, holding it up. Why is everyone on me? God. Haley snapped, grabbed the jacket, and went to her room. Alex was surprised and annoyed by her sister's reaction. Ignore her. She can't focus on two things at once, Claire commented. Alex scoffed, and said ironically, always a good quality in a driver. She sat beside me. Where is Summer? She asked, probably because Marissa was here too. In a car, Possibly complaining about a hangover and that I abandoned her, I replied. Coop gave an explanation. She's with her dad, they were going hiking today. I'm still going out with my cousin later for a family dinner, and Jake stood her up. I don't like hiking, I defended myself. All the bugs, and the trail getting your clothes dirty. Not for me. 3 Little Jake is afraid of tiny insects? Marissa teased me. I gently pushed her head away. Shut up, Coop, and added, I don't have entomophobia, irrational fear of insects, more like a mild disgust or aversion. Claire approached us, running a hand through Alex's hair. Sweetie, we need to get you some shoes for the dance tonight. No, we don't, she refused. I'm not going. What are you talking about? Claire reacted in surprise. Why would you not be going to the dance? Alex exhaled. Because school dances are lame. She continued with a snappy attitude, a bunch of immature boys trying to impress you with how cool they are, when they're really just a bunch of dorks. I made a poker face. She kinda has a point, Claire, I agreed, but then looked at my cousin. But the thing is, Alex, it won't change much even after a few years. Most of us boys will still be immature and try to impress pretty chicks, I commented. But then there's the remaining group, she said. I crushed her hope, the remaining ones will try to impress other dudes, making Claire choke. 7 Marissa joined the conversation. Jake is just being cynical. You will find a nice. But she didn't finish her sentence, because Phil and Luke walked into the house wearing overalls. Phil even had a flashlight attached to the helmet he was wearing. I could already imagine the exasperated look Claire must be making behind me. Boy, Coop finished, unsure of her own words. Chapter 83, Fears. Alex stared at the two of them until she finally questioned, What are you doing? Treasure hunting, they replied together. Wow, Claire exclaimed, already sighing. So you're really going under the house to see what's there? I asked, half rhetorical. The whole week they had been daydreaming about what could be down there. Yet, don't you want to come? Phil invited me again. I shook my head. No, thanks. I'm a bit claustrophobic. Seeing Luke's confused face, I clarified, I don't like tight, enclosed spaces like that crawl space. That photo of the guy who got stuck and died inside Nutty Putty Cave still haunts me. 5 So you're afraid? Luke asked, half mocking. Yeah, a bit, I didn't deny it, but we can do other awesome things, like learning to surf in Malibu, I suggested. Alex Kelly had mentioned it before, and it caught my interest. We could practice right in front of Dad's house. Cool. Luke got excited, but his mother quickly turned it down. Nope. Not gonna happen. Aunt Claire, you don't need to worry. It won't be just one instructor, there will be lifeguards on the sand, one on a jet ski, and another in a farther boat, I defended, assuring her it wasn't dangerous. We can talk about it later, Phil said, not thrilled with the idea either, though for a different reason. Let's go, buddy. He pulled Luke outside. Alex, should we buy you some shoes? I offered to my cousin. I said I'm not going to the party, she insisted. I looked directly at her. You're very cute, Alex, someone is going to ask you to dance. She was caught off guard, embarrassed, then retorted, what does that have to do with anything? What? We are both intelligent, Alex. Let's save it. And I continued, you also know I don't sugarcoat things. I mean that, I reinforced. You're a young beauty. If you were 3 years older and we weren't related, I'd totally hit on you too. She opened and closed her mouth, but no words came out. Believe me, cousin, almost all my regrets came from things I didn't do, I spoke more soberly. It's normal to be afraid, but don't run from it. She shifted awkwardly. And what if no one asks? Their loss, they'd lose the chance to dance with a beautiful, intelligent, and slightly snappy girl, I smiled. And if you're call me, I'll show up in a limousine with everything money can buy and dance with you myself. Please don't, she shut the idea down immediately. Yet, Jake is a horrible dancer, Marissa intervened. I gasped, hey, Coop, but I revealed, I'm taking dance classes with Summer, I'm getting awesome. I can teach you how to dance, Claire declared and began dancing. I frowned, I'm better than that, right? Marissa nodded, unsure how to react while watching my aunt dance very awkwardly. Oh my god. You and Dad together suddenly make so much sense, Alex commented sarcastically, then added, Mom, stop. I know how to dance, before heading to her room to change. After Alex left, Claire patted my shoulder, thank you for that, Jake. No need. She's like a little sister to me, just like Haley, I told her. And I mean it, If we were the same age and not related, I would date her. Face it, Aunt Claire, you'd love having me as a son-in-law. I smirked. No, she denied promptly, then after a moment added, definitely not. You and Alex would give me gray hair even faster. Coop? I saw her spacing out. I wish I had someone like you when I was 14, she admitted softly. I mean, the way you are with Alex. You have now, I pointed out. You're only 2 and a bit years older than her, and not much more mature, I joked, earning a playful shove from her. Claire went with Haley to her driver's license test, while we 3 went to the mall. I convinced my cousin to listen to Marissa and buy some new clothes as well. She became way more fashionable, which wasn't too difficult, considering Alex had a rather dubious taste in style. Haley had, surprisingly, passed her test and joined us. Marissa and Haley in a shopping mall would take forever, so I escaped with Alex. I returned to Brentwood. Entering the kitchen, I saw Jay and Gloria. My good family, what party is this? I inquired, since I had just heard Gloria mention one. I dunno, I understand about 20% of what goes on around here, Jay said while still reading the newspaper. I commented dryly, I think 20% is way too much for you, Uncle Jay. Gloria chuckled, then detailed, Manny showed up a little while ago with an excuse that he was sick and that it was better not to go to the party tomorrow. I raised an eyebrow. The one at the amusement park, right? Yes, she confirmed. Manny is afraid of roller coasters. 3 poor kid, Jay muttered absently. Jay, he won't admit it, but I know that Manny's sad because he will miss the party. Why don't we take him somewhere to take his mind off it? Gloria suggested, how about we take him to the pier and go fishing? He likes to fish? Yeah. He comes from a long line of fishermen and smugglers. Gloria boasted proudly, but I encouraged the fishing. She added. One Jay stood up and left a newspaper on the table. Okay. I'll grab the fishing gear and talk to Manny. After my uncle left, I looked at Gloria suspiciously and said, the pier just so happens to have a roller coaster right next to it. Gloria made a face like someone caught red-handed, then pulled me along. Come on, let's go. I'll be mad if we really end up fishing. We're too young for that, I mocked. We both laughed. That day, Manny finally lost his fear of roller coasters. Jay, not so much? Chapter 84, Coat Room. On Saturday morning, we were in Malibu for my cousin's 11th birthday. Happy birthday. Rose handed Jake a package. He unwrapped it. A magic set? Awesome. How lovely. Perhaps he'll grow up to be a Kearney, Grandma quipped with her usual sarcasm. Evelyn and Jay could easily become great friends, judging by their matching personalities. Rose continued, seemingly unbothered by Evelyn's remark. It includes 14 different illusions that will amaze and astound your friends. But, of course, your friends may be smarter than mine. Well, I don't know about smarter, but at least they are real. Cool, my cousin exclaimed. Rose stood up saying goodbye. Have fun at the Magic Castle. Aren't you coming with us? I wish I could, but I gotta go to some clown's wedding, she answered before leaving. I wonder if Cam will be there too, with all the incredible coincidences that happen around me. Poor soul, Evelyn muttered, then pushed another package toward him. Now, open Grandmammy's present. Jake unwrapped it but made a disappointed face when he saw what was inside the box. Clothes? Happy birthday. Thanks a lot, but clothes, he repeated. Not clothes, darling. It's Calvin Klein, she spoke proudly, as if that made any difference to an 11-year-old boy. Here, I handed him mine. Happy birthday, kiddo. Wow, an iPod mini? Jake reacted excitedly, immediately hugging me. He ran to his room, probably to load some songs right away. Grandma, are you sure you don't want to come to Boston this week? I offered. Everything will be top quality. I can't, sweetheart. I already have something scheduled, she declined, though with an appreciative smile for being invited again. I thought you wouldn't invite your uncle. I know you don't like his personality much, she pointed out. I responded, I have some conflicted feelings about him, mostly a lack of respect, and then added, but he is still family, and the trip will piss Judith off. Especially when she hears how luxurious it was for him. Grandma let out a poisoned laugh while I went to see what my dad and uncle were doing. Almost ready? Judith and Liz will be here soon, Alan urged beside me. We walked together into Charlie's room. Liz? Thank you, Charlie exclaimed, making the face of someone who clearly did not remember the person's name. Boy, that would have been embarrassing. Alan preached, "Charlie, please don't make a bad situation worse. Judith and Liz have been at each other's throats for years." "Why's that?" Dad blinked. "I don't know," Uncle Alan started dryly. "Maybe it's because Liz was always more popular, or maybe because Judith was smarter. My God, if Judith is smarter, then Liz must be a door, too maybe, and this is just a theory on my part. It had something to do with the fact that Liz did my brother in the courtroom at our wedding reception," Alan finished, like an angry raccoon. "Huh?" I exclaimed, hearing that. "I can see why she was popular." Dad smirked. "And you haven't even seen how beautiful she is. Or was. I just hope she stayed hot." Alan was glaring at both of us, but the doorbell rang before he could continue his rant. Uncle Alan answered the door. "Hey, soul sisters. Come on in." Judith replied curtly, "Hello, Alan, you look fantastic." A woman in a red dress, far too provocative for the occasion, said, adding, "I guess single life really agrees with you." She smiled at my uncle. Wow, someone seems to get lucky today. I whispered to Dad, because it was pretty clear what Liz wanted. "And here I am, thinking this was Jake's birthday," I joked, since it looks like his dad is the one getting the best present. Charlie just frowned. "You know, doing okay. Starting over, landed on my feet. Like a cat," Uncle Alan answered her. Then Jake came running. "Hey, Mom," he hugged Judith and quickly turned to his aunt, who was still near the door. "Hey, Aunt Liz." She hugged him back. "There's my favorite nephew," she said, handing him a large package. "Happy birthday, sweetie." "It isn't clothes, is it?" Jake asked. Grandma also appeared from the kitchen. "This is a surprise," she uttered, looking at both sisters. Judith just nodded. "Hello, Evelyn. You're looking very well," Grandma motioned to Judith's body. "Slimming down nicely." "Thanks. I recently dropped 160 pounds, she replied sarcastically, tilting her head slightly toward her ex-husband. 152, Alan corrected. My dad finally came downstairs. "Hey, everybody, I did the same. Uncle Charlie, Francis, look what Aunt Liz got me." Jake showed off the skateboard he had just received. "Awesome," Charlie exclaimed. I approached my cousin. "My friend Seth knows how to skateboard. I can ask him to teach you sometime." "Cool," he beamed. But Judith immediately found a flaw. "I don't suppose you thought to buy him a safety helmet? You ride with Aunt Liz, you take your chances. Right, Liz?" Dad approached her with his usual grin. But the response was the opposite of what he expected. "This guy? Are you sure?" she grimaced, clearly rejecting the idea. I gave a small wave. "Hi, I'm Jake's cousin, Francis." "Liz," she replied, giving me a once-over. "You're the one driving that Ferrari?" she asked with a playful tease. Judith deadpanned. "He is underage, Liz. And he has a girlfriend." Summer appeared in the doorway. She handed Jake a present, then walked right up next to me. She pouted. "I step away for one moment and there's already a tramp circling you," she whispered. Just like a great sitcom, someone else showed up right after, a busted blonde already clearly drunk. "Hey Charlie, I was passing by." "So?" I raised an eyebrow. She noticed me. "Huh, you're the cute one from Mitch's family." No wonder I felt like I'd seen a Charlie look-alike somewhere. Summer instantly stepping in front of me, with one hand on her hip. "Somebody order more skanks," she made a face too. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.